What's up, everybody? Geez, my mic is really quiet. What's going on with that? That's okay. What's up, everybody? My name is Theo Snodgrass. This is Theocracy. I am your host, Theo Snodgrass. How's everybody doing? Wow, this has been sick. Jesus Christ, my mic is so quiet. Am I even on the right mic? Yes, I am. Okay, there's nothing I can do about it, I guess.
Try that. Is that better? That's fine. We're just going to leave it. What's up, Selena? How you doing? So kind of a slow news day, right? Nothing's really happened lately. Kind of a slow news cycle. Taylor Swift is getting married. That's pretty exciting. Bunch of us thought that was never going to happen. That's pretty cool. Yeah, she's engaged to Travis Kelce, and white women are losing their collective minds. Isn't that weird? She's like, it's weird. Taylor Swift is like white women's Beyonce. Like if you, as a man, if you criticize Taylor Swift, you are publicly or even privately, you're running the risk of ending your bloodline right there. That's a red flag. If you don't like Taylor, it's a red flag. That's crazy to me. Women are acting like their best friend is getting married. And as a man, if you don't act excited, there's guys right now who are in the doghouse because they were not excited enough about Taylor Swift's engagement. That's bizarre to me. There's no one like that for men. There's no one like that for men. Like so I'm autistic. So my Taylor Swift is Elon Musk. But if you say, like, if I say that and you criticize Elon Musk, I'm going to be like, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, he's very controversial. A lot of people have strong feelings about him. And I'm going to keep it pushing. Women are not like that with Taylor Swift. They're very protective. Like, if you criticize Taylor Swift, you know, they're going to take that as evidence that you're some kind of like, toxic, abusive narcissist like they heard about on TikTok. And that it's like, it's misogyny. It can't be that she's impacted the collective consciousness of women everywhere and that all of you got more annoying as a result of Taylor Swift existing, right? It's not just that. It's like, remember that stadium at concert where she's like, fuck the patriarchy, and everybody's just like, they're all like screaming it, even though in context, that's not even what it means. Yeah, that's so just, you have the pop singer who is essentially solely responsible for making all of the nation's women more annoying at the same time. And if you get annoyed by it, then you're a toxic side. Anyway, that's enough about that. Taylor Swift is getting married to Travis Kelce, I guess, which is weird. People are banging on him because he used to date black women and he doesn't anymore. And he used to kind of dress and act and talk blacker. And now he's with a white woman and he's like, he's all very buttoned up, very like Beaver Cleaver, And yeah, people view that as kind of suspect, I guess. I don't know. I'm in the camp that thinks it's just like a big PR relationship. Did you see that clip of her on his podcast? She just did not want to fucking be there. And I don't know. I guess what's weird to me is that women are seeing this as evidence. Like, oh, you can do whatever you want, date whoever you want, get married to your dream man at 35 and everything's great. It's like, yeah, that does happen for some people, especially if those people are famous pop stars, but that's a bad life strategy. Like, you should not follow Taylor Swift's dating patterns, especially because she dated minors. That's so crazy. She dated minors publicly, and we don't talk about that like it's a bad thing at all. We're just like, oh, she's just doing her best. And she's like fucking white feminist Barbie too, which is crazy because traditionally feminists are against people dating minors for the most part. Minors and minors, both. Because the minors don't make enough money and then the minors are children. All right, that's been fun. Oof. Yeah, no, but I didn't start this stream to talk about Taylor Swift. We're gonna get into the issues for a minute. I'm just gonna do this Taylor Swift thing and see if anybody else shows up in the chat. That's what I'm doing. This is just like kind of like a top of the show a riff about something unimportant. It's weird that as a man, there's an expectation that you act excited for Taylor Swift as if you know her, and if you don't, you're running the risk of like just like no one wanting to date you. That's weird. Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? I don't know. I guess the part I'm hung up on is there's no equivalent person for men. It's not like if like Dwayne the Rock Johnson were engaged or something, and women were like, he's so annoying. He's in every movie. I'd be like, yeah, he is. He's super annoying. Yeah, super annoying. I'm over it. Udo. I'd be right there with you. So I don't know. I don't know what this whole like celebrity worship thing is about. I don't know if this is just like women who stopped going to church or what. But now so what I've heard about Taylor Swift is that she's really good at capturing the internal experiences of women. Like that she has a really good sense of what they think about like on a daily basis and what they think about when they're involved in a relationship, which is, I have to say, as a man, is extremely disheartening to hear. It's hard to like women once you understand what turns them on sexually. I will say that. It's hard to take them seriously as people once you figure that out. Yeah, it's tough. Good stuff. Yeah, but we do our best. We love women here at the Theocracy with Theo Snodgrass. I almost said Touch Grass. That's my other show. It's a panel show I do on Saturdays. Ugh, fuck. No, it's a huge bummer. So, yeah, most of the topics we're going to cover today are like huge bummers. So, it's been kind of a tough day. I'm going to see if I can come up with a take on it that other people haven't said already. We're going to see. I might not, but I'm going to talk about it because that's what people are talking about. And it's provocative to put it in the title. So let's see. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with the first one. So you guys heard about the dude who shot up the school, right? You guys heard about that? Okay. So we got some new stuff. First of all, people are saying it's like a trans school shooter. I don't know if that's true or not. We got a name change. We've got kind of like a feminine appearance. We've got kind of like just like gay adjacent mannerisms, but I don't know if it's actually a trans, person or not. And so apparently this is what we knew. So the school they shot up, apparently he used to go there and his mom worked there and he's like 23, so he hasn't gone there for a long time. But yeah, so that's what's going on. And a lot of really disturbing stuff coming out, a lot of kind of disturbing video clips and disturbing writings. I'm 100% sure I'm going to get yoinked from YouTube, or I would if anyone was watching this. So really, thank you to the live viewers for not watching, because if I had more people watching, I'd probably run the risk of getting in trouble, but I'm not. So let's go ahead and pull up this first clip because this is crazy.
So this is a video that was uploaded to the channel that was nuked as we're trying to find information. All right.
So I'm kind of stealing this from Crowder. So that's fine. Crowder, friend of the show, whether he knows it or not. Wait, hold on. Iron Oxide is saying his mom worked there. Still not sure if he attended the school. Good point. Yeah, so let's be careful because I don't really fucking know anything. Basically, what I have is the same internet shit that everyone else has access to, and I'm just going to react to it. That's what's going on. Like, I'm not like in touch with anybody. I'm just another jackwagon on the internet doing my best. But Yeah, and that's why. Okay, so people are saying it's a hate crime against Catholics, and I have to talk about it now because I'm Catholic on the internet. But like, I don't necessarily, I don't necessarily agree to that. It seems like there's a lot of personal shit going on here that had to do with that particular individual and their relationship with their family. So we know there was, some kind of family strife. We know there was a divorce. I don't know anything about, who was the problem and who wasn't, whatever. But this was definitely the school mom worked at. So I think it's safe to say that despite the fact that they were divorced and allegedly have a transgender child, these people were at least nominally Catholic. They were at least part of a Catholic community and they were professing to be Catholic. Now, it doesn't seem like, look, if they got a transgender child and they're getting a divorce, they're not Catholic in any meaningful sense that I would recognize. But, whatever, people make choices, right? So it's hard to know what you'd do if you were in somebody else's shoes. So anyway, this is the really fucked up video that came out. Crowder ran it yesterday. I'm going to take a look at it because we'll see. It's going to kind of construct a narrative. We're just going to look at some of the stuff that's out right now. All right, go ahead. All right, so if you didn't hear, he's kind of like whispering to himself. I'm gonna delete myself, and he whispers myself 3 times in kind of like an echoey pattern that people are finding that super creepy. So this is clearly like a deeply disturbed individual. For those of you who are not tracking at home, this here is an accurately hand-drawn diagram of the church that he intends to shoot up. He's got a little compass rose in the corner, which love the accuracy. And then, yeah, so deeply disturbing, not fun to look at, not fun at all. Deeply creepy, right?
Oh yeah, here's some bands I like and shit.
Yeah, which is like normal teenager stuff to just kind of bands and artists I like enough to write down. And that's nice. What are some of these actually? I didn't look at these. Suicide Boy Transplants. I don't know any of these. I literally don't. Lil Uzi Vert, I know who that is. Dead Mouse, I've heard of. Linkin Park, I'm familiar with. Breaking Benjamin. Okay, that kind of tells me the vibe. If Linkin Park and Breaking Benjamin are the vibe, then that kind of sets the vibe for the rest of his taste in music. That's shout out to the emo kids from the millennial generation. We love you guys. How's that? How did it go for you going from GameStop to customer service? Unless you're a girl, and then you are either on OnlyFans or you're a Denny's waitress. We love the scene kid. We love the scene kids. I love the retired scene kids. That's I'll have you know, all of my most toxic ex-girlfriends were retired scene kids. Anyway. Yeah, so that's super fucked up, right? Not good. Not a good situation.
There's one more.
Yeah.
And what else we got?
It's either someone with a very elaborate hoax.
Yeah, so I'm guessing this was so basically what they're getting to is that this was like a scheduled upload. So this was scheduled to upload after the event itself. And yeah, obviously it's like super freaky. It's not I don't know, that might be the freakiest one. I might have like front loaded the freakiest one. Let's see if we can find another one here. Okay. Here's another one. So this again, I might get nuked off YouTube for this. We'll see. Because it's a bunch of like not good. So he's kind of got like Jesus on the target thing here. This is on X, which is a real website. So I don't know if I might get nuked for this. We'll see. So he's got a bunch of stuff written on these, which is weird. Suck on this. Where is your God? A bunch of racial slurs. So not good. Not good, basically. Not good situation. So a lot of weapons. Not good. And what's weird, what's confusing about it is it seems like generic kind of like internet troll stuff, right? Like that's kind of what I'm getting. So I don't know if I don't know if it's like a woke thing or if it's just a generic nihilism. This strikes me as a person who just spent a lot of time alone and uh went to kind of a dark place. It's like I don't know if it's like people are trying to frame this like it's like, you know, woke people lashing out. I don't know if it's like this kind of stuff. People are saying that this is caused by trans. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. I actually think if someone is trans, that's an indication that they've got some pretty serious mental health issues anyway. And a lot of times these are people who are isolated and terminally online. And if you get a young person who's like isolated and terminally online and has a lot of angst, then like bad things sometimes happen. Yeah. So I don't know if it's like because of the trans thing. But it's like I think that's more of like another symptom along with the terminally online and the just generic nihilism. Like I don't want to show too much of the guns video because I don't want to get nuked off YouTube, but like it was like it was all over the political messaging was all over the place. It was like racial slurs, but also fuck Israel and also fuck Trump, and you know, there's not really like consistency. Because like if he were like some kind of like leftist ideological purist, then he probably wouldn't be that psyched to use racial slurs. I also might be misgendering him this whole time. I don't know. So that might get me yanked off YouTube. That's the thing, is like it's very difficult to be on this website and like have adult discussions about adult topics. I went back and forth with Grok for like an hour last night trying to figure out what I could title this episode. Because I wanted to call it Transformer Kills Children. And Grok was like, no, you can't say that. That's not allowed. That's not allowed. Can't say that. And I'm like, why not? That's what happened. I said Transformer. I didn't say, you know, but we actually don't know for sure what the situation is. I'm sure we will by the end of the day. So this stream will be outdated basically the second that I turn it off. Let's see. But if you're, I mean, look, if I had to eyeball it, this is him like reading the dryer manual for no reason, which to me, I mean, just eyeballing it. I don't know. See, that's the thing is like, as a millennial, this looks like a trans to me, but all these Gen Z kids look half gay. So they all look gay to me. So it's like, shout out to Arza Chats, friend of the channel. They all look, shout out to Vaughn Coleman, also friend of the channel. Both of you guys look gay to me. Just super limp-wristed. You know. So I mean, so I don't know. So this could be just like my bias. Like that's not what a man is supposed to look like. But you know, Gen Z has a more flexible idea of that. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot more information before Ironcast tonight. That's right, Scream Queen Selena. Thank you for that. Shout out Ironcast, by the way. We'll go more in depth on that. I'm going to be on a show called Ironcast later tonight, so be on the lookout for that with my good buddy Iron Oxide. So this is like just kind of where things were at as of like last night and like early this morning. We're finding out new stuff all the time. So like I said, the fact that his mom worked at the school I think well, and here's the thing, because if you read the actual, let's actually pull up some of the things. Let's see, this is crazy. Let's see, this is from the manifesto. I love you and truly appreciate the time I've spent with you. I have such an amazing family, and it hurts me to throw this wrench into the works of you good people. I feel hope when with you. I cherish our time together. I appreciate all that you have taught me, and I felt inspired to be like you when I grew up. I hope. That's so ominous to write I grew up in the past tense like that. That's a crazy thing to write in a note when you're about to go shoot up a church, though. That's crazy. I hope you are able to move on and continue your lives without me forever. Feel forever haunted by my actions. Forget me and all that I am. Hold on to your loved ones. I love you all. And to my friends, I trust you to give your. So, you see what I'm saying? Give your memory of me however you see fit. I am sorry for the confusion and heartbreak this will bring. I truly appreciate all of you for showing me a good life and helping me through dark times. So many good times, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, this world has too much pain to deal with, and I can't cover it with the good sides of life. I hope you all can move on and forget the pain I have caused. That's crazy. That's a wild thing to say in a note right before you're going to go like shoot up a show. Because then it's like, just don't do that. If you like, here's the thing. I understand being in pain. Totally get it. I was an angsty young man not so long ago. I know that's very surprising to you guys. But I was an angsty young person a while ago. And the way I dealt with that was just moping. I just moped. And I beat off a lot. Like, I didn't do this. So that's crazy. So I think he started out as gay and then went to college and was told he needed to be seen, and they fucked with his head. Yeah, I think that probably happened. That's the story of a lot of people, actually, is they're just like regular gay, and then they realize that they can, for whatever, get, I think it's like more social validation, because you kind of do what you get social validation for. So I think you just get more social validation being trans. I think that would happen to a lot of gay people. Otherwise, normal gay people that were just like, oh. Selena, mind your business. This is my show. It's my show. How I deal with my angst is my business. I have wanted this for so long. I am not well. I am not right. I am a sad person, haunted by these thoughts that do not go away. I know this is wrong, but I can't seem to stop myself. That's weird to me. I know this is wrong, but I can't seem to stop myself. I'm severely depressed and been womp womp for years. Only recently, I have lost all hope and decided to perform my final action against the world. So that to me seems like this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about intense nihilism. Just my life is so miserable that I feel like I have to take this act of extreme violence and vengeance on the world. Right. So yeah, so pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Let's see. I don't want to kneel down for the injustices of this world. I'd rather on my feet than live on my knees constantly in pain. Fair enough. I understand why you'd feel that way, but that's what's crazy is okay. So in John Milton's Paradise Lost, Lucifer decides he'd rather be a ruler than in hell than a servant in heaven. This is just very like it has a very like prideful, self-involved kind of which is what nihilism is. It's actually deeply egotistical and prideful and very woe is me. And you get very deep into the injustices of your own suffering. And I think you have to be also historically illiterate to embrace nihilism in this way, because you have to just be completely out of touch with the kind of stuff that your ancestors had to grapple with. Let's see what else we got. I think I am dying of cancer. That's weird. It's a tragic end, and it's entirely self-inflicted. I did this to myself as I cannot control myself and have been destroying my body through vaping and other means. I think I have lung cancer. I have felt many pains that make me think I am past the point of recovery. I do not want to recover. I do not want to throw my life away by rotting in a hospital bed. I don't want the rest of my life to be as cancer patient and in and out of hospitals, constantly being fretted about with people afraid to be too happy with me. Fuck. Wait, so you'd rather... Hey, what's up, Nate? What's up, Full Metal Nate? Friend of the channel, Full Metal Nate. Check out Curse of Strahd, season 3 coming soon. Oh, we're doing the Transformer who, shot all them kids. That's what we're doing. We're reading his manifesto. That's what's going on this comedy podcast. That's how we're spending the morning. Oh, man. My neighbor's dogs are very friendly. I'm sure you guys can hear that. Oh man. Hey, what's crazy is to decide, okay, to be like, I don't want to be a cancer patient, so I'm gonna be a school shooter. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, you guys see that show Dying for Sex? So Dying for Sex is a show about this lady who found out she was dying of cancer, and so she divorced her husband and went and fucked like 200 guys and then died. So they made a podcast about her, then they made a TV show about the podcast. Pretty cool. I mean, not cool, really disgusting, but in kind of vile and weird, that depressing. But I'm saying that's like a way better thing to do once you find out you're dying than shoot up a school, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, so, I mean, it's just like if you have the choice between, those aren't the only two choices, by the way. You could also accept your circumstances with some dignity. That's also on the table. But I guess that's out of reach for our just like absurd narcissistic society. But given the choice of getting ran through and shooting up a school, I would fall heavily in favor of getting ran through. I'd much rather you get ran through. It's the official Theocracy position. I'm against school shootings. I don't care who knows it. Don't shoot up a school. Get ran through. How am I doing? Is this entertaining? How we do? How we doing? Leave a comment if you think I'm treating this subject matter with the appropriate seriousness. You all are what kept me going. I find no more interest in anything material. I have only an interest in my mission, and I live for my family. If I didn't have such an amazing group of people around me, I would have gone much sooner. See, that's weird to me. It's like, I want to go out on my own means. Unfortunately, due to my depression, anger, and twisted mind, I want to fulfill a final act that has been in the back of my head for years. And that's the other thing too, is okay. So I didn't want to spend too much time on the, I didn't want to spend too much time on the video with the actual guns in it, but he had like the names of other school shooters written on the mags, and it's like, okay, well, so it's pretty obvious that he's inspired by some of these other stories that he's heard. It's also pretty obvious that making these people famous makes other people want to do it. So maybe we should stop doing that. But just heads up. Maybe, I don't know, stop, putting them on the news, telling everybody what their name is, and maybe they would stop. Because here's the thing, he wouldn't know all these people's names if we hadn't made them all famous and then just like lionize them in the media, right? That's crazy. Well, okay, and that's the other thing too, is this is why I know this person's okay. This is why we need to bring bullying back. Like, I'm not trying to, I promise I'm going to tie this in, but like, okay, what this guy needed was just a good group of guy friends to just get him out of his own head and just make fun of him. And it's just like, what are you writing poetry over there? That's gay. Something like that. Like, that kind of bullying is actually really healthy, so you don't take yourself so seriously. Like, you can tell this guy's in his own head. He spends a lot of time alone. He's thinking, and he's very obsessed with himself. And he's very kind of up his own ass here. Like, and he's very obsessed with the seriousness of his situation. And I talked about, like, it's like my mission, and this thought has been in the back of my head for so long. It's like, I do wonder what put the thought there. It's like, I mean, maybe if he hadn't seen so many media images, lionizing these people, he wouldn't have gone there. Because I think it seems like, obviously, it's a guy who's really depressed and angry and not getting help. We don't know if he was in therapy or if he was on medication or what. I'm hoping we find out by Ironcast tonight. Don't forget to check out Ironcast. That's tonight, where we're going to have actual information. This is just me spitballing. Whether you accept, let's see. Just want to escape from this world, escape from this constant bills, shitty jobs, shitty people, and injustice of America. But yeah, I get that. I feel Cinema Quirks. What up, Cinema Quirks, friend of the channel? Society's just producing narcissists. That's true. This is okay. This is okay. Escape from the constant bills, shitty jobs, shitty people, and injustice of America. Bear in mind, this guy's 23. Okay. He's 23 years old. And, or he had a CIA handler pushing him towards this. Yeah, that's the other thing too. That's going to be more of a, It's got to be an Ironcast topic. So this is going to be, you definitely would want to watch this show and then that show. I think that's going to be, I think that actually, he's got something there. I think that this is the craziest. It's crazy to think that someone came to this conclusion completely on their own, that this is the kind of stuff, especially so many of them. And it's weird, the recent trend that so many of them have been trans. Like at first, okay, when it was like a trans man, so a woman, female to male doing it, I was like, you bitches can't be trusted with testosterone either. At first. Come on, because hear me out. Because like they were so smug about being about all school shooters are male. It's like, ha! Knew it. If you bitches had testosterone, you'd be doing it too. But it's not a nice thing to say. That's what, but it's weird that they've all been, and that's why I'm saying I don't think trans is like the cause, but I think people who are very nihilistic, spend a lot of time alone, spend a lot of time online, dealing with a lot of bad emotions, and just like feel incredible sense of like hopelessness and nihilism. Those people are a lot more likely to be trans. And then if you feel a lot of hopelessness and nihilism, then you're a lot more likely to do some like crazy, horrific act of nihilistic violence as like a, getting your revenge on existence kind of deal, which is wild. Was this one in a BlackRock commercial like the Trump shooter? No, but he had sponsored by BlackRock written on one of his mags. And now here's the thing about that. I don't know that he's actually sponsored by BlackRock, whatever, but like part of me thinks that this guy was a known internet troll. Like other things he had written on the bags, he had like the woker. Like I'm like the Joker, but woke. That's what they're gonna call me. That's cool. It's not what they called him, unfortunately. Which it sucks because that's kind of a dope nickname. It sucks that it didn't stick. But also he had like the troll symbol and like troll and stuff like that. So he's like a well-known. Thanks, Nate. Love you, man. So the sponsored by BlackRock thing, that part of me thinks maybe that's a troll. He's like, oh, I'll write this on the mags, and then the news media will be picking it apart and trying to figure out what that means. So that's part of it. Part of it might be it might actually have some kind of relationship. I don't know. It is such a twisted, self-focused ideology and belief. It's partially about attention and the feeling that nobody will love them because they don't love themselves. Yeah. So if that's your headspace, right? If your headspace is existence is pointless, no one is ever going to love me, no one's ever going to accept me, I'm hopeless, life is hopeless, which by the way, a lot of people, especially if you're kind of like a brainy, artsy, sensitive guy and you're 23, it's pretty normal to feel that way. That's why we used to put men on boats and like send them to war. It's because like, okay, just give them something else to think about other than to like, stare into a well and ponder. That's not a good thing. You just put them on a boat, send them to war. They'll come back better. I promise. That's what we used to do. We don't do that anymore. So, this is a guy that, maybe 200, 300 years ago might have, gone off to a war or hopped on a pirate ship or joined a merchant vessel, or he would have done something in his young life to find some sense of like meaning and adventure, and then maybe made himself enough of a fortune that he could come back and, take a wife and, whatever, but we don't have any structures at all in our society for young men to find purpose and meaning. And I do think the trans thing kind of comes along, especially because that'll come to you right through the phone. Seriously, kids don't become trans if they don't have phones. Sorry. That's part of it. Like grown men seem to. Grown men, I think they could do it with sans the phone. They were doing it, decades ago before there were phones. But these young people, does not seem to be the situation. Seems like it's so I'm guessing based on, and since so much of the stuff that he wrote on the guns was like online lingo and like troll speak and Zoomer slang and all the stuff that is tossed around online, my guess is this is a guy who spends a lot of time by himself online, and that's the main way that he interfaces with the world. And that's a recipe to feel super lonely and nihilistic and disconnected, and like the world doesn't have a place for you, which is crazy because that's my take, right? But then as you read it, he's like, hey, I have this wonderful, loving family. I have all these awesome friends. So where the fuck are the friends? Is he talking about online friends? I can't imagine these are people. Like, if you were going to go hang out at the mall and get, an Orange Julius and a soft pretzel or whatever, like it's 1996, then I don't think you go straight from that to, although the Columbine kids went bowling the day before. So, I mean, who knows what's going on with that? We're lucky it was a man, woman, trans, because if it was the other way around, they would have tried to OD everyone at the school. We have no idea. Oh, man. Don't focus on yourself and your personal problems. It will lead to your own personal hell. That's true. And what's crazy is that's the exact opposite of what therapy culture tells you. Therapy, we have this normalization of, it used to be therapy was for crazy people. And now it's like everyone should go to therapy. And then women got hooked on it. And then all the therapists became women and all the women go to therapy. And all the women are basically like, if you don't go to therapy, I won't fuck you. So as a man, if you don't go to therapy, you might be ending your fucking bloodline. It's like the Taylor Swift thing we talked about at the top of the show. It's one of these weird things that for whatever reason, we would put a lot of value on that. And I understand that. Now, as a Catholic, I look at therapy and I'm like, this is confession, but opposite. So for those of you that don't know, I'm Catholic. I know it's a shocker. I only talk about it all the time, every single show. But so here's how confession works. You go in, you talk to the priest. You have a wall of separation so they can hear you but not see you. Although I prefer to just look them in the face because I want to get all the shame. I want all the shaming. I want all the guilt. I want it. I want to freebase that shit straight into my fucking veins, bro. Love that. Love the guilt. Love the shame. Love Catholicism. It's my favorite. Anyway, so you go in there, you tell the priest what you fucked up, where you've been fucking up, basically. And they tell you, oof, not so good, bro. Here's how you could do better. And here's what I want you to think about this week. Usually some kind of prayer or scripture passage or something. This is what I want you to focus on, because if you have a problem, somebody in the Bible had the same problem. That's the cool thing. Human problems have not really been updated in the last like 10,000 years. It's mostly the same shit. And therapy is, so basically this is my point. So in confession, the point of confession is this. You go in, you find out what you did wrong, and you figure out what you could do better. And you go out and you try to do it. You come back a month or so later and give them an update. Give them an update, how it's been going. And ideally, you have a consistent relationship with the same priest. But the focus is always on what did I do wrong and what could I do better? Therapy, it's the opposite. It's like a lot of therapy, especially talk therapy, especially the way it's administered by women for women, is all about, validating your perspective and telling you you're right about stuff and, unconditional positive regard. And you're not supposed to give anybody any actual advice. You're just supposed to tell. I remember one time, I've been in a lot of therapy in my life. I was in a therapist's office one time and a woman, and just kind of as a test, I was like, I'm pretty broke right now. I'm considering becoming an escort. And I paused and I waited, and she's like, hey, well, I'm not here to judge your decisions as good or bad. We're just here to talk about it. And I was like, you failed right there. You failed. That's a failure. You should not. It is not an act of love to allow someone to do something self-destructive and not say anything. Now, I also understand, you have to be somewhat positive with people or they won't talk to you. I totally get that. But like, to me, therapy is just like the inversion of and also therapy's solution to problems is just think about your own emotions absolutely all the time as the main thing. That's the main thing you should think about is what are my problems? What are my emotions? And I should just sit and ruminate on them. And if you sit and ruminate on your bad emotions, which is, I'm guessing what this guy did a lot, it will get so much worse. That is a recipe for just ruining shit, for ruining your life. The best solution, especially for men, this is like women, I think, do benefit from like sitting around in a circle and holding hands and like crying it out. That doesn't work for men. Men, you need to go out and do an activity. You need to find some other men who like the same shit you like and go out and do some stuff together. Like me and my good buddy Iron Oxide are going to be doing Iron Cast together later tonight. That's going to be a news program, right? We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be doing that together. And we're doing that because, as a substance, like, what are we going to do? Sit around and feel depressed? No, we're going to go make a podcast because that's what we like to do. You see what I'm saying? So that's what you go out and find find some buddies, go do stand-up comedy together. You don't have to do that. Those are things I like to do. You could do whatever you want, but just go, like, if you're a man and you're depressed, Go find some friends who like to do the same shit that you like to do and go do it. Go get a fucking burrito from Jack in the Box or whatever, or Chipotle if you can afford it. Go get a Chipotle burrito together and go fucking do an activity and see if that doesn't make you feel better. Seriously, I'm telling you. It's like, I wish I could, bro. I wish I just fucked up. It's not about me, but I just wish there's a bunch of guys out there probably that feel more or less like this guy did. Like, he's very bright. Like, dumb people don't write this much. So he's clearly very bright, and he's creative and sensitive and thoughtful and spends a lot of time alone. Like, it's also hard for me to believe that no one saw this coming. How did he get that many guns and nobody noticed? Nobody? I understand he's 23. He's an adult. I'm talking about him like he's a child. He's an adult. There's people on death row that are younger than him. So, but so this is a grown up. He's older than our good buddy Arza Chat's friend of the channel. Go check out his content. Arza Chat's friend of the channel. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see who else we got here. Cinema Quirks. Why aren't we looking at this person's parents? Because if they have a lot of friends, this is a homebrew. Yeah, for real. Yeah, for real. I don't. Yeah, the parents' question is especially interesting because, like we talked about at the top of the show, mom works at the school, and I'm guessing probably attends the church. I don't know if this is more about the school component or the church component. I actually don't know. And that's why people are trying to make this out like it's a hate crime against Catholics. And as tempting as it is for me as a Catholic to latch onto that narrative, I'm like, I don't know. The fact that the mom is a key component of this makes it feel personal. And the fact that there's a trans component to me, I don't know. I don't know this. I'm not a scientist or whatever. I'm a humble comedian. So I just notice things and say them in front of people. And if it resonates, I keep saying it. That's what I do. So that's not science. It's very intuition based and very just like people are saying, which can be unreliable, whatever. But I've noticed there's a trend. I haven't met a lot of trans people who get along with both parents. There's usually some kind of parent wound there. So now, obviously, having Jesus on the target thing, it makes me obviously like nihilism, anti-Christian, whatever. Like all this stuff kind of goes together. And a lot of woke people are very anti-Christian, particularly Catholicism, I think, because I don't know. There's a lot of reasons why that might be, but I don't know if I don't know if it's about that or if it's about I think it's like I'm mad at mom, and then church, Christianity, whatever, is a symbol of mom and mom's rules and mom telling me what to do and hardy-dardy-dar. And so then that becomes the target. Or maybe it's mad at dad. I don't know what's going on here, but like I don't know. I think, it's an anti-Catholic hate crime to me is like kind of like a low resolution take. I mean, I got to be honest, it did affect me because I went to a school like that, when I was younger. And I know people who who went to schools like that. And I know people who have kids in schools like that right now. So it's kind of crazy seeing all those kids in their little uniforms and stuff, walking out of the school and being like, oh, some of them are not coming out. That's a bummer. Yeah. So, but I don't know. I don't think that's the right. Therapy is mostly shit. I've had one therapist since becoming an adult. And at the end, he and I both concluded that therapy couldn't really help me. My life was hard and there was nothing to be done about it in that moment. And there was no misunderstanding of my life that could be corrected. There you go. I think that's what I'm saying is like for most men, like therapy invites you to ruminate about your past and the things that are wrong with it. And that can be useful if you have things in your past that you do not understand and do not have a good narrative around. And a lot of people fall into that category because our culture gives us basically zero good ideas about how to deal with adversity. But the therapy doesn't have answers for that either. I think the best answer, especially for men, is to get a group of guys who like to do the same shit you do and go do activities together. And then while you're doing activities, you will actually talk about stuff. Like I was out clearing brush in rural Washington with a friend of mine. We were just clearing brush on some property with my buddy. I was helping him out. And while we're doing that, we're cleared brush, we're smoking a J, passed it back and forth, just like basically doing, yard work, basically. And while we're talking, he's like, yeah, man, I got a lot of stuff going on, blah, blah, blah. And while we're not talking at each other, we're not like sitting in a circle holding hands and crying, but while we're doing stuff, he's kind of telling me what's going on. I'm like, oh man, what are you going to do about that? He's like, I don't know, man. You got any ideas? And then we're just having a good time. Like or like working on a car. That's another one. Just whatever it is you like to do. That's gonna have, like, just sitting in a room and thinking about your feelings is a recipe for this shit. So let's see. By the way, I wanted to apologize to you because we've had a lot of discussion about faith and I'm leaning towards Catholicism. Sorry for the way I talked about you. Oh, don't worry about it, bro. We're used to it. No, don't worry about it, bro. Don't even worry about it. No, there's nothing to forgive, my guy. You're just thinking out loud. That's what they tell us. Literally, like, if you look up all the like Catholic saints and stuff, it's just a bunch of people who got like eaten by lions and lit on fire and all that kinds of stuff because people didn't like what they said. So that's we're used to it. We're used to it. It's just not an expectation that people are going to agree with us the first time at all. But I have noticed that the trend back towards more traditional religious practice, and the younger people who are going to church now they want the more traditional. There's a demand for like incense and chanting and Latin mass and all this stuff and dressing up and more girls wearing veils. There's a woman wearing a veil at mass, 80% chance she's Gen Z. It's not something boomer women do, and it's not something millennial women do. Millennial Catholics, the women are still very feminist, and the men tend to be pretty limp-wristed. Like the people who were like the Catholics who were like wearing suits to mass and like lifting weights and like, balling out, and the Catholic women who are dressing modestly and wearing veils and stuff like that, really embracing the kind of the more optional aspects of the faith that indicate like a more intense practice. That tends to be Gen Z that's doing that. But that's so the result of that. If you go to a Latin mass, it's all young people dressed really nice with big families. So I think the church is going to be just fine. I'm a little bummed out. Millennials are not seeing that as much. But you see, I will say I have seen a lot of like millennial couples where they both have like a bunch of tattoos and piercings sitting in mass, which tells me like, hey, I went out and, had kind of a wild ride and I realized that sucks. And so now I'm back in church, which is what happened to me. So that, I do like seeing that. But yeah, not this though. There's no such thing as a humble comedian. That's true. Every comedian I've ever met thinks they're underrated. Thinks they don't get the respect they deserve. Every single one. Yeah, we're all like that. It just is what it is. Every single comedian thinks they deserve more credit. If it looks like a duck, for real. Therapy is for men going out into the woods, building a cabin with your bare hands. Yes, Allie gets it. Lady Allie Books, friend of the channel. You got to go out and do stuff. That's what this fella could have, benefited a lot from. Is I understand not feeling super in touch with your masculinity. If all you do all day, and I don't know this, I'm just speculating based on other similarly situated Zoomers that I've met. But if all you're doing all day, every day is just sitting down and being online, and you're not going out into the world and engaging with it physically, and you don't feel in touch with your body, and you're not accomplishing anything as a man, it's really good to do something, and then at the end of it you can stand back and look and it's like, oh, I did that. Like, that's why working on a car is good, because you're working on the car and the car's not running, and then you do things to it and now it is running, or it's running better, right? even I know it's really I know we bag on millennials a lot for liking Legos, but the truth is like having something like building something like that with your hands. And then I'm not a big fan of like keeping Legos around the house, but like building Legos and then giving them to a child who can appreciate them is like, you know, sometimes it's great to just get your mind off something, get your mind on an activity, you know, and getting in a group. Because the thing is, the truth is, there aren't a lot of opportunities to go into the woods and build a cabin with your bare hands anymore. That used to be a thing people did. Our ancestors did shit like that all the time. You guys seen Jeremiah Johnson? That's a real thing people did. They just go into the woods, you build a cabin with your bare hands, you get a native woman and kind of like Stockholm her into liking you. You know, maybe there's a dog. And you're happy. And you're happy. That's like I think it does benefit. I mean, some guys really benefit from solitude, but I think a lot of guys benefit from, like I said, we used to just put them in boats and send them off to war. And now we've got young men who just have no idea what to do because they have like no sense of like meaning or purpose or hope. And there's no sense of engaging with the world. And then we feed them with this fire hose of information that tells them like, hey, you're garbage and the future is female and the society has no desire to keep you in it. There's no place for you in this world at all. You know, we don't want you here. Right. So anyway, let's see. Let's do this more because I've just been monologuing. Whether you accept my apologies or not, I hope you all can move past and continue your lives. Remember to be good people. What the fuck? You got to be out of your cotton picking mind. It's like, hey, you know, sorry about the party foul. I hope you can move on, dude, and continue your life. Remember to be good people. But you murdered children. That's not. Anyway, what the fuck? Now more than ever, the world needs more love, even if you don't get it in return. Please find hope, find love, and stand up to injustice. Okay, see, that does feel woke. That's like the inverted morality of wokeness. Is the emphasis on hope and love, standing up to injustice rather than enforcing justice. So this is a problem with, so I'm going to explain something. So there's a problem in wokeness with this concept of toxic empathy. So if you are mercy cannot exist without justice, and justice cannot exist without mercy. Because if you have mercy, too much mercy for people who deserve justice is committing a different type of injustice to the victims. See what I'm saying? So if you let criminals off the hook and there's no, because they had a hard childhood or whatever, then you're actually committing a different kind of injustice to the victims of those criminals. You see that? So this is what this reads like to me. Find hope, stand up to injustice. They don't talk about justice. They talk about standing up to injustice. It's kind of this like narcissistic idea that I'm always the underdog. Like I'm the self-obsessed underdog, right? Like, look at me. I'm the victim, and positioning yourself as the victim. Also, this vague, just being angry at the world and not really knowing why. Wokeness gives you a target because then you can. So yeah, so that does feel very woke to me, just reading that. But that's so weird. That's so weird. This is what makes me think that this is just like a narcissistic look at me moment. And this is what I mean when I say nihilism is very narcissistic. It's self-obsession. It's like, look at me. This is my chance to get everybody's eyes on me. And this is my big moment. And I'm going to say something. See what else we got. I love you all. I will remember you. Pray for the victims and their families. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. I love you. I'm assuming these are the names of family members. Can you be I don't know if those are family members or friends or like what the deal is. I don't know if these are siblings or what. Can you imagine getting name checked in the school shooters suicide manifesto? That'd be crazy. If they were just like, yo, Theo, thanks, bro. You were always a vibe. And it's like, don't mention me, actually. If you were thinking about mentioning me, maybe don't. Don't mention me. I'm serious, bro. If anyone in this audience is thinking about popping a bunch of school children, and you're going to be like, I want to thank Theo over at Theocracy, Theo Snodgrass from the Touchgrass podcast and Theocracy. Fred, you're going to say that I inspired you. Fucking don't, actually. I don't want the smoke. I don't want to deal with that. I just said I don't go to therapy, so I'm not going to be able to deal with that. I'm not going to, like, there's no fucking cabin in the woods that can help, that you can build with your bare hands. It's going to help you get over getting fucking name checked in the school shooters manifesto. No, I don't want it. Don't do that. Do other things. Mention somebody else. P.S. This is okay. And then Robin M. Westman and 2002 to 2025, 23. That's so young, you know, but okay. And this is, by the way, the name change thing is, that's what is contributing to people, obviously, and the appearance is what making people think that this is a trans person. I don't actually know that 100%. When I checked this morning, that wasn't 100% confirmed. I'm sure it will be by Ironcast tonight. And Ironcast, we're going to be going over a lot more detail of stuff. Like, this is just kind of me. This is kind of me hanging out and just like doing the stuff I want to do. That one's going to be more like news focused. Let's see. PST, get over yourself and make up with mom. She loves you. You need to grow up and accept that time just keeps on fucking moving. You either will stay in the past and rot, wasting your life and happiness away, or you will grow up and move on from things. We all love you. That's a crazy message to get from a school shooter. That's, I wouldn't recommend any of you to read my journals unless you really want to, but be warned. Okay, well, people are definitely going to read them now. Yeah, I'm assuming that's one of these people. I'm assuming that T is properly referenced to Teresa. I'm assuming that's a sister who doesn't get along with mom. Parents are divorced, whatever. So it's like a complicated family situation, obviously. But yeah, yikes. Big yikes. Not good. Not good. So very creepy with all the gun stuff and everything. And then the manifesto is super weird. Looking at that, it's crazy. This is what this is why I think that this person is just like kind of obsessed with themselves. Is they're using this as their opportunity to get on a soapbox and like this is their goodbye to the world, where they're like telling their friends, you know, I had a good life. It's like, it's weird because it's like it doesn't make sense, because the image that the suicide note creates is that this is a person who had a lot of people that they loved and cared about in their immediate circle, at least people they cared enough to mention. And so the image of that kind of disrupts my image of this person as like somebody who's like a loner, who's self-obsessed and chronically online, which is what I would assume. So I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know. I'm assuming we'll find out more pieces kind of as time goes on. I don't know. I'm hoping people in the media are investigating this right now. So that, I mean, it sucks because we can't get fucking reliable information, because it immediately became politically motivated. And as always happens, there are people who are trying to make this about gun control for some reason. And there's people who are trying to make it about like a trans thing. I actually think like I said, I think the trans thing is like a side issue. I think this is a nihilism thing, which is what school shootings have always been. And I think trans is a symptom of nihilism. How do you get to nihilism? That's what I'm saying. You spend a lot of time alone, being chronically online, being self-obsessed, being isolated, being narcissistic, and you just sit in that darkness for a while. And you got to, you know, that's what causes it. So that's my thought as to what's going on here. That's why it's weird that he's like mentioning other people like that. So I don't know. Again, and I don't know if these are like online friends or real life friends. Like I'm not unique in this. A lot of the people that I like know that like know me really well are people I know almost exclusively online. That's the people who like know me super well. A lot of people that I interact with interpersonally, I have very shallow, superficial relationships with a lot of the people that I meet in real life. And then the people who are online are the ones who kind of see, that another side to me. I mean, outside of like, I don't think I'm alone in that, by the way. I think a lot of people probably fall into that category. So that's what's going on. I also, by the way, well, that's enough about this fucking weirdo. By the way, did you guys see how the Minneapolis mayor responded to this? That guy's a piece of work. So we're going to spend some time on that. First, let's check in with the chat, because I've been Catholic and Orthodox are a vibe. Yes, sir. I agree with you. We have we're Catholic. We have cross-platform compatibility with the Orthodox Church. So they're based. I wouldn't be upset. I don't know enough to dissuade anybody from joining the Orthodox Church. The only thing you're going to run into over on the Orthodox Church is a ratio problem, because they're like 80% dudes right now, because a bunch of dudes joined up in a hurry. So a lot of those dudes are having a hard time finding wives. Kind of a cockfest over there. So if you're a young guy and you're like, which church should I join? I would say join the Catholic Church, because your odds of finding a Catholic wife are better. Also, the networking opportunities in the States are better. There's way more Catholic churches than there are Orthodox churches. If you live in Russia, that may be different. I don't know the deal. But if in terms of like, part of the point of joining a church is having a big community of people who will want to, be your friend and care about your well-being and help you out and stuff like that. And so that happens. It's a lot more likely if you join a Catholic church. So, yeah. Not to shit on the Orthodox Church. I mean, if you're in a community that's got like a great Orthodox community, whatever, man, dude, go nuts. But the other thing too, and there's some dispute about going back to the Great Schism. There's some dispute about which church is the original church. I'm saying it's us. They're saying it's them. There's points on both sides. I get it, man. I don't know the whole story. I'm not a theologian, but I joined the Catholic Church just because it's better for, better networking opportunities there. And, some people really need the ritual. Yeah, that's, I think, what people don't get is that people stay away from Catholicism because they feel like it's very stuffy and there's a lot of rituals and it's a lot of everybody saying the same words at the same time, and we all know when to kneel and stand and all that stuff, and that creeps everybody out. But that actually is part of it. That's a really important part of what religion is supposed to be for humans. Ritual is good for you as a human, and you can look that up. We might have to do another show on that. Ritual is really good for you as a human, and especially doing rituals with other people, like linking up to the groupthink and the hive mind for a little bit is actually really good for you, and it's a necessary thing. You got to have a team as a human. Life is a team sport. You got to have a team. And the cool thing about Catholicism is it's everywhere. So everywhere you go, no matter where you go, if you're there on a Sunday, you can find a church. So that's pretty cool. Whereas in a lot of Protestant traditions, you're in a church and you like the guy, but you don't necessarily like it's not sort of the dominant denomination. And if you went to another church with the same denomination, but it was a different guy, you'd be like, oh, this sucks. Whereas the cool thing about the bureaucracy of the Catholic Church is that theoretically, even if you have a shitty priest, you're still going to get, even if the individual priest is shitty because he's saying the same shit, or at least he should be saying the same shit that every other priest is saying in the world is saying on that particular Sunday, you're probably going to be all right. It's going to be mostly okay. He may just have like a dog shit homily. I had one of those the other day where I was just like, oh God, this guy sucks. But it's still mostly, since it's so much of it is ritual and standardized, it's still like 80% of what I felt like I needed. You do need a good priest if you want to get good confessions, though. I'll be honest with you. Like, you need a good priest, especially like me, because like my confessions are gnarly, because it's like my confessions are pretty gnarly because I got some fucked up personal habits. I've been in confessions before where it was like, yeah, 3 Our Fathers and you should be good. And I'm like, really? I just told you I fucked a stripper in a Chuck E. Cheese parking lot. And you're telling me 3 Our Fathers is going to cover that? Really? There's nothing else fucked up about that situation. You don't want to offer any other comment? Really? You got no advice for me? You're not gonna tell me I shouldn't have done that? That's what you don't want from you want a priest to be judgmental. You don't want a priest to be like, no, you're just like finding your bliss and love is love. That's not what you want. You want a priest to be like, listen, you motherfucker. That's what you want. And you want priests are supposed to be judgmental and kind of dicks. I was in a confession one time, but I was like, yeah, I had sex with a woman that I didn't really know, and it's just outside of a context of a committed relationship. It's bad. It's like it doesn't. And he cut me off, and he's like, it doesn't fucking matter if it's in a relationship unless that relationship is a marriage, right? It's marriage only. And I was like, yes, I like this priest. I like this priest. He should chin check you when you fuck up. That's real. It's necessary. It's necessary. So, let's see. Legos are an appreciating asset more reliable than the stock market. That's probably true, actually. The Canadian woman never said no. She didn't speak English. That's fucked up. All right, that is a good quote. I might have put that on a t-shirt. Yeah. Yeah. 15 years ago, when I noticed trends trending, I predicted we'd have a plague of Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. Now call me Nostradamus. Yeah, for real. It's yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All of this is good advice that they didn't take themselves. So everything this person like allegedly is telling other people to do, be a good person, love everybody, stand up to injustice. It's like, so you know what good things are to do, or at least you know good words to say, but then you go out and do this terrible thing. That's what makes me, kind of wonder about it. And we're going to get to that later in the show. I've got some theories about that. We're trying to figure out what's going on. So, yeah, I would say this is like, hold on, I'm trying to fuck with my sound a little bit. This is like my sound is not right. Let's look at the chat more. They dress up like tarted up little girls for a reason. Yeah, that's the thing. I will say this, like, no, look, shout out to the, trans community. I love you guys. I just don't believe in the whole thing you're doing, but rooting for you. Got good things to say for it. Good for you. Hope life works out for you. Not my thing. Don't really want to do it. Not my thing. Don't believe in it. But you know what? If that makes you happy, go nuts. I will say this, though. I've noticed that a lot of trans women, they don't dress like regular women. They dress like the girls they used to beat off to. And that's always been weird to me. At least maybe it's just the ones I'm seeing online, but it's like, why is it so like horny and like pornified? It seems very like porny to me, what they're doing. Not like, because like regular women just like don't dress like that all the time unless it's a certain type of woman or she's trying to get a certain type of attention. At least from what I'm seeing, you don't really see that. So like they're not trying to be regular ass women. They're trying to be the kind of women that make them work. Like they're trying to be like regular women. I'd be like, all right. But that just has not been the trend as I've observed it. Yeah, MK Ultra activation. Yeah, I think so. I actually think there's something. Yeah, and then the Theo, save me harder, father. Hey, chill out. Roguish nerd, friend of the channel. What's up, man? Yeah, the if it makes you happy thing is why we are where we are. Trans being put into asylums like they used to be would fix a lot of things. Based. 2 of my exes literally tried to become me while they were transitioning. One changed his name to a version of mine. That's okay. So that actually is a trend that I've seen where you heard of this trans widows thing, I'm not prepared for that. We're just riffing now. The trans widows thing is crazy because they'll be like, oh, you find out a lot of these women, they like marry a guy and then he transitions, ends up looking a lot like her, wearing a lot very similar clothes, similar jewelry, even stealing some of her earrings, whatever. And it's like they get with you because they admire you and they try to become this woman. So they're not actually like into you in like a sex way. They're like, they have this like weird perverted fantasy of like wanting to be you, or like you look like what the I think what is the, what is that, autogynephilia, where you're like, you get horny at the thought of yourself as a woman, and so that's so you look like the woman they want to be that would make them horny, so they try to. It's super creepy. From the women who've described this phenomenon, they get super creeped out by it. So shout out to Lady Allie Books. Thank you for sharing that. So that's a real thing that happens. The fact that it's happened to you more than once is wild. No, I get it though. That's fucking crazy. That's fucking crazy. They single white female their own lives. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is actually, I'm gonna have to do a whole nother episode on that. That's its own thing, kind of by itself. It's super weird. And that's what makes me think that this is just like, I don't buy that this is like a civil rights identity thing. I think it's a pervert thing. I'll be honest with you. Like, all due respect, like, don't get me wrong. Here's the thing. The rule used to be do whatever weird shit you want, just do it at your house. And when that was the rule, I was fine with it. Like, if you want to go wear a dress at your house, I don't care, dude. I really don't. It's probably like, whatever, man. If you want to wear a dress and beat off at your house, go nuts. What bothers me is the trying to get access to like women's bathrooms and shit like that, and women's locker rooms and all that. Like, that's weird to me. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do it at your house. Do it at your house. Like, guys, I do stuff at my house that I know you don't fucking like or you think is weird. I know a lot of people who think the rosary is weird. I know that. Shout out to all the Protestants in the chat, which is, I don't think I have. What's funny, I don't have any Catholic viewers. Every viewer that I have that I know is a Christian is some kind of Protestant who thinks I'm in a weird cult because I pray the rosary, which I find very funny. But love you guys. Shout out to the Protestants. We love you guys. Shout out to the Protestants. But yeah, but here's the thing. I do the rosary, but I do it here. I'll do it quietly to myself on like a little walk in the evening, or I'll do it at a church. Like, I do it in like designated areas, and I'm not like shouting the rosary into a megaphone at Chipotle. And I think that's where the trans people are. I'm not demanding that you do it. I'm doing it because I like it. You can do whatever you want. I don't give a shit. I really don't give a shit. I don't have enough bandwidth to care about your life choices that way. I wish you would. I think your life would be better if you did, but I used to be that husband's literally rented a secret apartment to go wear women's clothes in secret shame. Yes, and it was better. It was better when we had shame, wasn't it? Like, if you have to rent a second apartment to go, doesn't that make, I mentioned, okay, like, I don't know this because I don't have to wear women's clothing to beat off. I just beat off the regular way. But like, if you had to wear women's clothing to beat off, wouldn't having to rent a Motel 6 room or whatever and like do it in secret, doesn't that make the beating off so much better when you finally do it? Like, if you could just like do it at Subway, who cares? Or if you do it at a fucking parade. That's the thing, is the parades. Too many parades. Do we agree there's too many parades for these people? A parade is ridiculous. A parade is a giant inconvenience for everyone in the city. You have to reroute traffic. And they want a month of parades. That's too many parades. That's too many. Like grandmas don't get a parade. Puppies don't get a parade. Things that have 100% public approval ratings do not get parades. And these people want a month of parades. And then every single month, they want a holiday. It's like Trans Day of Visibility, Trans Awareness Day, Coming Out Day, all these bisexual whatever day, all these different days. It's like they're trying to replace the whole calendar. Almost like it's a religion. Almost like it's a religion. Isn't that interesting? How we used to have, Christianity was the dominant religion. And so every single month was some kind of Christian holiday and there was some kind of Christian thing going on all the time throughout the year. And that, translated into government holidays too. And then when we started to phase that out, now all of a sudden it's almost like this other religion is filling the void. Isn't that interesting? You know what's crazy about that is because we got like the Bible and Christianity and stuff out of schools. And now we've got all this like woke, gay nonsense in the schools. It's almost like it filled the void. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, we don't have time to discuss all that. That's too many. That's not what this show is about. Do you want by the way, speaking of living in a secular society, let's talk about this motherfucker. I am not okay. Let's pull this up. You guys can't hear this yet, but I'm gonna.
And the amount those families are suffering immense pain right now.
So this is mayor of Minneapolis, is who this is. This guy's name is Jacob Frey.
Think of this as if it were your own. Every one of us needs.
First of all, let me address this. Hey, Allie, mind your business. Mind your business. Oh, man. Go ahead. I actually, by the way, do advocate semen retention. It does make you more creative. So don't jerk off, gentlemen. No fap. Hashtag no fap. Go ahead, Jacob Frey. What have you got for us?
To be wrapping our arms around these families, giving them every ounce that we can muster. These were Minneapolis families. These were American families. And the amount of pain that they are suffering right now is extraordinary. And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church. These are kids that should be learning with their friends.
Oh, man. So that's rough. So that's rough, right? Because it's like, so this is a thing that's a really bad thing that happened to Catholic people, right? And he's like, don't pray. How dare you mention prayer? Because this is a lizard person who doesn't have real emotions about the situation, but he's like pandering to his progressive demographic. And that's the same thing. And you'll see this later. We got more people who said similar things. It's very common for progressives in the wake of a mass shooting to be like, don't mention thoughts and prayers. Actually do something. Thoughts and prayers don't do anything. And it's like, well, that's kind of the point. A lot of people are going to have an outpouring of emotion for these people and these families and the suffering that these families are enduring. A lot of people are going to have a big emotional response. Very few people can actually do anything to significantly help. Almost no one can. Almost no one can do anything to help these people, right? So like when you tell them, hey, don't, like, thoughts and prayers for a lot of people, that's the best thing they can do. And also for those of us that are religious, we do believe in the power of prayer. Shout out Cinema Quirks. That's right. A lot of us believe in that stuff. This is like a very like secular, millennial, metropolitan leftist take. That used to be just a thing people said. And hearing it come from the leadership is crazy though. Because people used to say that. So when I was younger, people would say that somebody like Obama or whatever would come out and be like, hey, thoughts and prayers, whatever. And then that became kind of like sarcastic and thoughts and prayers. It was just something you kind of like said in like a pithy, snippy way because it's like, oh, thoughts and prayers are super ineffective. And it's like, no, not really. Not when a community is suffering. Actually, prayer can do a lot. Prayer can do a lot. And whether or not you believe in the divinity, I certainly do. I believe that I believe in the spiritual aspects of prayer, but even just the ritual, just the act of praying can bring you comfort, especially if you're praying with other people. Yeah, it can really, it can, especially, I don't know if you've ever had this experience. I've had this experience before where you're with somebody who's losing a family member and you kind of get the family together and pray as they pass. And it's very powerful and it offers people a lot of comfort. And to speak so dismissively of that, especially because this is his first opportunity to address the public after the fact, right? And that's the first thing he goes to. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. No good. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
They should be playing on the playground. They should be able to go to school or church in peace without the fear or risk of violence, and their parents should have the same kind of assurance.
What does that mean? Should in this context? I understand. It's like bad things shouldn't happen is just a very progressive take. That's just what progressives say all the time about everything. Is like bad things shouldn't happen, as if it's a moral statement. And then a conservative will be like, well, bad things do happen though, and we should prepare for that. And then the progressive will be like, bad things shouldn't happen. Why do you think it's good for bad things to happen? And I'm like, I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying bad things do happen and we should prepare accordingly. And they'll be like, you want bad things to happen because you don't think people are people. People are people. It's like talking to a toddler who wants a corn dog. That's what every conversation with a progressive is like. It's like, I want a corn dog. It's like, you can't have one because that's just, there's no corn dogs here. We don't have them. We have cereal. You can have cereal or you can have Dino Nuggets. That's what you can have. It's like corn dog. You don't have corn dogs. We have Dino Nuggets or cereal. That's what you got. Like corn dog. That's what every conversation with a progressive is like, I swear.
These are the sort of basic assurances that every family should have.
Oh, this is actually a good point. Cinema Quirks hit it on the head. Yeah, gun control. He's dog whistling. Like he's slowly kind of introducing the idea of gun control. It's like, how do we, if we say, oh, families should be able to go to school and church safely, how do we ensure safety? It's like, oh, well, we get rid of all these dangerous weapons. That's how we do it. You know? So he's already, and by the way, the same people who said thoughts and prayers are bad is a bad response. And we could debate the effectiveness of that as a response without belittling the people who feel helpless and they want to turn to prayer, because that's what you do when you feel helpless. A lot of us, that's what we do when we feel helpless, is we turn to the divine. So that's what it's for, actually. That's what it's for. It's the whole point. Because life is hopeless sometimes. So there's despair. So, yeah, but yeah, no, I think Cinema Quirks is right here. This is because the same people who say thoughts and prayers are useless and you should be safe in your community. We should be safe. We deserve. That's another one of these progressive words they like to throw around. And all of this is kind of like emotionally like edging you for the climax of gun control. I guarantee you there's going to be a gun control push after this. Now, I'm not saying this is necessarily a, like, I don't know. Some people are saying this is an op. We're going to talk about that on Ironcast tonight. There's some people who think this is an op. And so we're going to hear that out. But yeah, I definitely think this guy, they say never let a good tragedy go to waste. And it seems like this guy is capitalizing on the tragedy immediately, wasting no time. This is his first address to the community. Cinema Quirks is absolutely right here. He's not mentioning gun control in his first chance to address the community, because if he did, that would be received badly. But he's kind of teasing it. He's kind of, rubbing his thumb on the tip of gun control, so to speak. Go ahead.
Every step of the day, regardless of where they are in our country.
That's the other thing too. I suspect because this is a vacuous lizard person that he has bigger political aspirations. So this is his moment. He knows everybody in America is going to see this clip. A bunch of people who do not know who he is are going to know who he is today. And I have evidence for him being a vacuous lizard person, by the way. I'm not just saying that. I have evidence for that. We're going to show that later, because that's the main thing I want to talk about right now, is how this guy is a vacuous lizard person. Go ahead. Okay. What is the other one? Pew, 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 pew. Okay, here's this guy. Here's another one of this guy again. It's the same guy. We're going to do it again. I don't know if this is the same video.
It was the first week of school. They were in a church.
No, it's different.
These were Minneapolis families. These were American families.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of
By the way, quick note, Cinema Quirks again. Minneapolis is the home of the DNC. Yeah. Kind of interesting. So this is like kind of interesting that happened there. And yeah, I would not be surprised based on what I've seen, and we're going to go over it, but I would not be surprised based on what I'm seeing if the Democrats just absolutely capitalized on this to try to push an agenda for gun control. And it's like we shouldn't use this as an opportunity to discriminate against trans people. We should love everyone. And it's like, yeah, okay, but one group is doing the murder. And again, I don't think this is necessarily like you can be a pervert and not murder people. Like, I'm not shitting on perverts. Somebody has to stand up for the perverts. Might as well be me. I'm pro pervert in general, as long as you do it at your house. Or like Lady Allie Books was saying earlier, rent a hotel room and do it in quiet shame. Have a second house where you live out your shame. Whatever it is, just don't fucking do it near me. I don't want to see it. So, but I'm fine with that. But just don't. What do you like? Don't. That's not being a pervert's not an excuse to shoot people. Let's see what we got.
These were Minneapolis families. These were American families.
Mm-hmm. See that pivoting towards national? Like, I think he knows that millions and millions of people in America are going to see his face today. And I think, well, he also knows, here's the thing. Let's say I'm this guy and I'm a vacuous lizard person, and all I care about is amassing as much power and influence to myself as possible. And every single person around me is a disposable pawn towards achieving that end, including whatever wife and children I may have, right? Let's say I'm that guy, and that's how I think. What I know is that there's a power vacuum at the top of the Democratic Party right now. The best people have no idea what to do after Kamala got absolutely smoked in the last election. I mean, Trump just put belt to ass for the whole time, and the Democrats got completely mollywopped. So they've got, and now if I'm a vacuous lizard person like him and I have aspirations, I'm like, oh, I can leapfrog Gavin Newsom. I can be off this. If he does well enough today on this, he can introduce himself as a presidential candidate. Everybody's going to know who he is, and he can run on a gun control platform, and he's got all the credibility in the world to do it. And Democrats are stupid, so they're going to follow that. No one who reasons with logic is voting for Democrats at this point. So it's just it's only emotional reasoning. You think I like voting for Republicans? Do you think I enjoy that? No, I used to be cool. Yeah, I used to be cool and open-minded and cool shit. And then they decided to turn the country into a den of perverts. Anyway, go ahead. Let's see what else he's got to say.
And the amount of pain that they are suffering right now is extraordinary.
Pain, emotion, suffering. See, he can't show genuine emotion because he's a lizard person, but he's trying to use his words to invoke genuine emotions that he doesn't actually relate to because he doesn't feel empathy or any kind of human feelings at all. He's a lizard person, but he's trying to get you to feel those feelings so that you will vote for him so he can be the king of the lizard people.
And don't just say this is about thoughts and prayers right now. These kids were literally praying. It was the first week of school. They were in a church.
Yeah. So that's super sinister. Because it's like, don't pray. You know who's here to save you? Me. I'm here to save you. Me, King Lizard Person. I'm here. I have the solution. And the solution is give up all of your autonomy, give up all of your weapons, give up all of your standards. Stop being so mean to trans people. Because if you weren't so mean to trans people, they wouldn't murder your children. This is really kind of your fault if you think about it. That's his angle. And all of this is, by the way, a smokescreen. He does not give a shit about trans people. He doesn't even really care about guns. He doesn't care about the people of Minneapolis. He cares about amassing as much power to himself as he possibly can. All right. And of course, this is the home city for the DNC. So yeah, I bet he's more aware of it than a typical Democrat mayor. I think he's more aware of it. And here's the thing. By the way, I know you guys are thinking I'm being way too harsh on him for being a lizard person. Actually, you're my audience. My audience is smart. So my audience does not think I'm being too harsh on him. My audience probably thinks I've got it right. So you guys are intelligent. I say this a lot. I have the best audience on the internet. I say that. I don't have the biggest audience on the internet, but I have the, not in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality, I have the best audience on the internet. It's a bunch of high IQ yappers, funny, insightful, thoughtful, well-read, based, good takes. Even when they even when the chat disagrees with me, they're never hysterical. They're never like, fuck you, you're gay. I mean, they do actually, that's a lie. They do call me gay quite a bit. That does happen. But mostly, like, even when my audience disagrees, they're at least bringing logical reasons why they don't think I'm right, which is helpful. So I'm wrong about stuff. I'm not wrong about this guy being a lizard person, though. And we're going to see that right now. Go ahead. So this is him. What is he doing? This was a few years ago. And this is him at George Floyd's funeral wearing a mask because COVID and just bawling his eyes out at the solid gold coffin performatively. This is a guy he doesn't know. So he's not crying. By the way, he was not crying this much for the murdered school children. And you see how he's taking a knee here? So this is all like a performative. This is what I mean. This is all a performative gesture because this was what was politically expedient at the time this was happening for him to do. Because, you know, he's a white guy. So, like, I mean, look at the people around. So, I mean, it's George Floyd's funeral. I mean, do you guys remember when George Floyd got taken out? This was like 2018. This was when the country went like absolutely shit crazy for like Black Lives Matter. And this is Minneapolis. So this was like where it was happening. So he's kind of in the middle of it. And this was how he responded, which I'm looking at this like this. There's no way in hell this is a sincere emotional reaction because he's got all of the performative, everything performative that I would want to show if I was like a lizard person and I wanted to amass power for the Democrats, because it's everything about this is a virtue signal. The emotion, let's watch it again. The emotions. I'm crying so much that I'm shaking. For this guy I don't know. And he's wearing a mask and he's taking a knee. He's doing all the things and he's shaking. He's sobbing and shaking so that you can catch it on camera from far away. Yeah, this is not a human reaction. No. And so even if he were overcome with emotion, this is not the dignified way that a masculine leader models that. You have to be like, he's in charge. He's the mayor of a city that's about to fall apart. Right. So you got to demonstrate leadership. And again, in this situation, he does what I would argue is something similar. That speech wasn't for the people of Minneapolis. That's why he was referencing people all across America. That's why I said that thing about thoughts and prayers. That's why I think about everyone should be safe, all this stuff. This was his launching his presidential campaign on the backs of this tragedy. That's what's happening here. This is just a power grab. So yeah, so Minneapolis is led by a lizard person who does not care at all about the people. And as a Catholic, when I hear him disparaging prayer in his first opportunity to address the public after what is being investigated as an anti-Catholic hate crime, which I already said I'm kind of lukewarm about that interpretation. But let's say, as far as he knows, that's what just happened. It's an anti-Catholic hate crime. Okay. And his first address to the public is, well, fuck your prayers. Whatever you do, don't pray. I don't know. I just like looking at this. I'm like, my reaction to that was, of course, he doesn't care because he's not one of us. Like, of course he doesn't. Like, I know you can't expect, him to care. He's not one of us. He's secular. He's a secular leader. And I don't know whatever he may profess to practice privately. I think the main thing that he cares about is his ability to pursue his own power. So not not good. Not good. Yeah, the other thing too is there, so the discourse around there's been kind of like mixed messages around the trans thing. I want to show you this because this has been kind of making the rounds. This is from a magazine called Eugene Weekly, and this is just put this in the category of things that have aged fucking terribly. This is a trans woman holding what appears to be an AR-15 and wearing some combat boots and a mini skirt. This is, by the way, this is what Allie was talking about earlier in the chat. You see how this is not normal. Like, this makeup is not normal. This is like performative sluttiness. That's what this is. Hold on, let me put my DMs away. My DM's been out that whole time. That's stupid. This is performative sluttiness. Let's see. Hopefully nothing bad happened. Oh, no, nothing good. Nothing bad happened. That's good. Performative sluttiness. Not that my DMs are bad anyway. Mind your business. Mind your business. It's none of your business who's DMing me. Anyway. Like I said, performative sluttiness. Let's see what else. Are you triggered? That's a good pun. By the way, solid pun. And Eugene Weekly, for those of you who don't know, Eugene is a town in Oregon. And Eugene is not as bad as Portland, but it's very very leftist and very. If you go to any major metro in Oregon, you're going to find a whole hodgepodge of people who have all kinds of alternative lifestyles out there, all kinds of different gay stuff and polyamorous and queer, trans, and whatever. I went to a comedy club in Salem not too long ago. Portland is the worst, but I went to a comedy club in Salem not too long ago, and like everybody up in that piece was some kind of gender something. And there's a giant trans woman who was dressed like a slutty anime girl, and I'm like, that's why I think you don't just want to be a woman. This woman, you think you want to be like the women you jerk off to, which is fine, by the way. But like Ali said earlier, rent a separate place to go do that in shame by yourself. Don't do it in public. Do it with some shame in private. That's what I think. Anyway, this says, as the Trump administration attacks trans people. That's framing. That's framing, right? So as the Trump administration attacks trans people, you see what that is? That's an assumption that the Trump administration is attacking trans people. It's an assumption, right? That's assumed. So you have to agree with this to get to the second part of the sentence, or it's not going to make sense. Go ahead. As the Trump administration attacks trans people, some queer folks are armed and ready to bash back. Boom. And then this is just, anyway, when did this come out? July 19th. Oh, fuck, dudes. That's last month. Terrible timing. Terrible timing. Oh my God. And that's you understand, this is really how a lot of people see that. And the way people are kind of reacting to it online, there is a lot of that going around. But here's the thing. I don't know about that. I had a buddy who was showing me, it's like, oh, look at these Reddit posts of people are like, good, this is what you deserve. Trans people uprising, whatever. They see this as like some kind of like legitimate act of vengeance or even like self-defense by trans people to murder a bunch of Catholic children. That is a view. I actually don't know how widely held that view is. I also do not know that if the people who wrote this knew that there was going to be a mass shooting where a trans person killed children in the following month, I don't know if they still would have done it. I don't know. I'm assuming. I don't know here my question is, I guess, who do they imagine this confused gay man is going to shoot with this gun? Is it Trump? Is it cops? Which cops? Is it federal cops? Is it state police? Is it, your local Barney Fife types? Who are we anticipating is going to be shot by this gun? That's my question. Because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they mean by that, because it's like I have to assume, if I'm being as good faith and as charitable as I possibly can, I have to assume that they're not advocating for trans people to commit mass shootings. It's weird that the last several in a row have all been trans people, isn't it? And again, I said this at the kind of the beginning. I think the trans is kind of a misdirection. I think trans is what you become if you have narcissism plus nihilism plus a lot of time alone plus chronically online, which is the kind of stuff that makes you more likely to be a mass shooter anyway. It's just now, in today's day and age, you're also more likely to be trans. It's like, the Columbine kids, they wore trench coats and listened to like, hardcore music and all this stuff. It's like, they're just called being a weird loner. The only difference is now, if you're a weird loner, you end up trans too. So I don't know. I don't know that, like, it's just weird. This is going to be an interesting backpedal, because the rhetoric around this has been kind of, strongly in favor of, well, because they've been calling Trump a Nazi they said Trump was Mecha Hitler since, like, for how long they've been saying that? Like, the whole, like, since 2016, they've been calling Trump Mecha Hitler and saying he's going to, like, genocide trans people. So I'm sorry, I'm saying a bunch of YouTube not friendly words, so I'm probably going to get nuked. Sorry about that, guys. But they're saying a bunch of, like, so you've got all this, like, super inflammatory rhetoric, and people are going to hear that, and people are going to take it seriously, especially because you're talking to mentally unstable people who are chronically online. They don't have a good frame of reference for the real world, and they're not super in touch with reality anyway, because they're trying to change up their whole gender deal, right? So they're not super in touch with how things actually are anyway. And so timing or foreshadowing? Good question. I do think it was inevitable. You had a bunch of mentally unstable people who are otherwise mentally unstable. And they go to the doctor and they're like, okay, so you're mentally unstable. So here's how we're going to fix this. We're going to pump you full of estrogen. Because, as we know, human beings with more estrogen are classically known to be more emotionally stable. Everybody knows that. It's literally the most retarded thing you could possibly do. It's the dumbest shit you could possibly do. It's just like, what's going to make you more emotionally stable and happier if we just pump you full of the hormone that makes women psychotic. Yeah, just do that. Let's pair, what we should do? We should pair the male capacity for violence with the female hormone that makes them crazy. That's good. Retarded. Get help. Retarded. So it's crazy. We're not, no sane society that liked itself would engage in this behavior. No sane society that had like a way of like making sense of what reality was and then mapping, your behavior to reality would be engaging in this behavior. This is deeply silly. I think our ancestors or our descendants will look back at us and be like, what the hell were they on about? Kind of the same way we look at some of our silly ancestors now, or some, they'll look at us the same way. I think we're one of the most, here's the thing. We think we're better than our ancestors. And I think we are one of the most delusional, out of touch, not stupid, but silly societies to ever exist. I think we've completely lost touch with any ability to make sense of reality. That's let's see. We already did that. Let's see, what else do we want to do? Here's this video. I'm gonna share this. So this is fucking what's his face? This lizard person. He was on, what show is this? MSNBC with Jen Psaki. Do you guys remember who Jen Psaki is? Jen Psaki. She was communication director under Biden, I think, a press secretary under Biden, something like that. She was talking to cameras a lot. She got tired of doing it because they were sending her out to lie. She was just getting mollywopped over and over and over again. What did she tweet? Do I have her tweet? Here's her tweet. Okay, I'm going to show this first. Okay, so here's what she tweeted about it. Prayer is not freaking enough. So she doesn't want to say fuck. She's not that edgy, but it's not freaking enough. Prayers does not end school shootings. Prayers do not make parents feel safe sending their kids to school. Because remember, okay, so what's the priority here? End school shootings. Okay, hear that. Make parents feel safe. But that's not what prayer is for, right? The prayer is for dealing with the grief of the tragedy that just happened, right? That's what the prayer is for. So it's not supposed to do those things. But that's what she wants to do. Those are her policy objectives. You see how she's like edging us towards gun control? But she's not going to say gun control today because it's too soon. Well, we know that because the people who say gun control day of have gotten political backlash. Bear in mind, she's not foregoing mentioning gun control because she doesn't want to. She's doing it because it's not politically expedient and effective to mention it now. So this is calculated, but she's edging. Remember, she's like, moving her thumb around the tip of gun control. That's what she's doing right now. So anyway, let's start at the beginning. Prayer is not freaking enough. So edgy. So she's serious. She almost cursed. So she's serious. Prayers does not end school shootings. So I think she was emotional when she typed this, which is why there's a typo here. But that actually works in her favor because the Democrat Party is all about emotions. It's all about emotions. Not that Republicans don't do this. By the way, I don't want you to interpret this as me being pro-Republican. It just so happens that the Democrats are being lizard people in a way that's really obvious and easy to point out. So that's why I'm doing this. Anyway, prayers does not end school shootings. Prayers does not make parents feel safe sending their kids to school. Prayer does not bring these kids back. Enough with the thoughts and prayers. Okay, so the point is to introduce this is like I said, like Cinema Quirks was saying earlier, they're kind of like they're introducing some of the language that they're going to use later to argue for national gun control. I'm guessing this is going to be a wedge issue. Let's see, what year is this? 2025. Okay, so we got midterms next year and we got the presidential election in 3 years. So, and it starts really in 2-ish years. Okay, so yeah, I think this is pretty obvious, at least to me. She's introducing the language that she's going to use to justify gun control later. Anyway, we have video of the two lizard people talking to each other. It's very cute. They should kiss. Don't you think they should kiss? Just two lizards humping on a hot rock in the desert somewhere. That'd be great. Anyway, go ahead. What have you got to say? Maybe here's the thing. Maybe I've been too hard on them, right? Do you guys think I've been too hard on them? I might have been too hard on them. Let's see what they got.
Yeah. I've been thinking about them as my own all day, as I know many people watching have been thinking about them as their own. It's so fresh here. It's just happened.
That's interesting that she has this perspective of these are the community's children. They don't belong to their parents. They belong to me. That's interesting. Right? It's a very leftist perspective on what children are. In the leftist mind, they're not your kids, they're our kids. And the reason that's sinister, because that sounds nice. It's like, oh, the community cares about all of its children. That's so great. But the reason that's fucked up is because if they're our kids, not your kids, and that means we collectively get to decide what morality to teach them. And also, if we teach them a bunch of gay stuff and they start to question their gender identity, then we're not going to tell you. We're going to send them to a therapist, and then we're going to trans them, and we're going to change their name, and they're going to change their whole sense of identity and their sense of who they are. And you're not going to know about any of it because they're our kids, not your kids. See? So that's actually very sinister what she's doing. But what's fucked up about it is it sounds good when it's actually evil and sinister. And that's everything that the leftists do. Everything they do sounds like, this is nice. And it's actually like evil lizard person behavior. Go ahead.
And this morning, and
crying. See, she's never had a real emotion before, so she doesn't know what it looks like. What she's doing right now is a face she saw someone else make, and she practiced in the mirror because she's a lizard person who doesn't have emotions. Go ahead.
There's already been sort of some effort, which I think is so sick and disgusting, to weaponize some of the details, even if we don't know a lot at this point in time. And obviously the law enforcement in your city have been keeping people abreast.
What's funny is because weaponizing the details is what they're doing, right? That's what they're doing. They're doing it right now on this broadcast. They're weaponizing the details. This is all lubing up the dildo of gun control. That's what they're doing right now. So they're weaponizing the details while at the same time accusing someone else of weaponizing the details. Because remember, when the left is, especially when they're getting emotional, what they're always doing, anything they accuse you of doing is what they're doing. That's always true. By the way, same thing is happening if you're arguing with a crazy woman. So do you ever find yourself arguing with a girlfriend and she's like saying stuff that doesn't make sense? It's like, I'm not doing that. She's telling you what she's doing. So just shut up. And remember, we covered this on last episode, but if you go back and watch Arguing with Women is Stupid if you want more information on this. But if you find a woman not making any logical sense, just shut up and let her talk. And when she calms down, you can have logical discussion. But bingo, projection. Exactly. That's it. They're accusing the right of doing exactly what they're doing, which is crazy. It's crazy because it's like happening. And here's the other thing too. It's not what you would ideally want from your leadership class is people who are self-aware, who are self-reflective, who are highly accountable, who were quick to admit mistakes, and who were like, yeah, you know what? I am doing that. I should, didn't. And when they described their enemies, they at least did so accurately, right? Well, that's not what we have. We have people who are like immature and juvenile. This is like a very, very, very immature, juvenile, low resolution way of looking at this. They're not thinking about the policy, the outcomes of the policy. They're thinking about the objectives. So they are thinking like 5 or 6 moves ahead and how they could use gun control as a wedge issue to get more power tilted back towards the Democrats after Trump put belt to ass in the last election. That's what happened. And Trump is on the way out. I mean, he can't run again. And he's old. And people have mixed feelings on J.D. Vance. So, yeesh. Anyway, so I don't know. So this is their attempt to, this is also his, like I said, this is also this lizard person's soft launch of his presidential campaign. Mark my words on that. Mark my words. Clip that. Do whatever you got to do. I would bet all of the money in my pocket right now,
including details.
I would bet the gum wrapper in my pocket right now that this guy's going to run for president. Go ahead.
About the individual possibly being trans, about the individual possibly having
No, what is that? You see how she's like performatively upset? Like she's pretending this is making her emotional, but she's not feeling anything. She's just pretending it's making her like, oh, like talking about this individual, accusing this individual of being trans. Oh, that's so sad. And even if they are trans, it has nothing to do with it. Now, why would somebody having a completely delusional relationship with reality have anything to do with their mental state? Why would someone being jacked up a bunch of, like, Lord knows what medication and hormones this person was on? That's the other thing, too, is like a lot of these folks are not only on hormones, but they're on SSRIs. They're on psych meds. We don't even know what kind of like prescription cocktail this person was on, but I'll bet you dollars to dog shit this guy was on some kind of psych meds too. So you're mixing psych meds and which are powerful, way more powerful than people realize. They're way overprescribed and the side effects are intense. And then you're mixing them with hormones. I don't know. And maybe this person wasn't on hormones. We don't actually know what prescriptions they were on, but there are people, let's say, who are on psych meds and hormones. I don't know if I know. Well, here's the thing, because doing stand-up, I meet a lot of different kinds of people. So for most of you in the audience who are just like regular folks who just go to your job or whatever, like you may not actually like meet trans people in person very often. I do. I just see them around. I'm like, oh, what's up, dude? And we just keep it pushing, whatever. But so that's why I kind of have a live and let live attitude towards it, because I know them and it's like, whatever. But I don't know if I've met a trans person who was not on, in addition to hormones, also taking psych meds, SSRIs or something like that, or they were self-medicating with significant drug and alcohol consumption. That's just been my experience. That's why I don't like to just dog on them for whatever. It's like, I understand, being a pervert, whatever, but like, my impression is that these are people who are in a lot of pain. And I think that's why it might be relevant to bring up, like, hey, maybe these people who are in a tremendous amount of pain, maybe the way that we are treating that pain is not as effective if it's turning them into school shooters. Just a thought. And maybe, by the way, that's a discussion that a reasonable society would have. But here's the thing. We live in a society where pattern recognition is illegal if the pattern is mean. You're not allowed to notice trends if the pattern is mean. And that's a mean pattern. That would suck if that were true. If it were true that trans people were disconnected from reality in such a way that they were prone to nihilism, and nihilism leads to school shootings. If we were able to demonstrate that connection pretty thoroughly, it would be pretty much, and from that we could extrapolate, hey, maybe the way we're treating these people's problems is completely wrong and unhelpful, and actually we're making everything worse. Which there's a lot of indications that, yeah, the way we treat trans people by affirming them and pumping them full of hormones and doing all these Frankenstein surgeries or whatever, I am pretty sure that's making everything worse. I'm pretty sure we're only doing that because pharmaceutical companies benefit from it. And because under Obamacare made it so you had to, so all the insurance was required to cover gender affirming care. So, or gender transition drugs, whatever you want to call them, whatever. So then, the insurance companies are required to cover them. So that creates an incentive for the pharmaceutical companies to produce more of those drugs and to increase the supply. But to sell them, you also have to increase the demand. So there's like a perverse financial incentive to this too. And the medical institutions that perform these procedures make a lot of money. And it could be that this is just like, perverse incentives, which is what I think is going on. It's perverse incentives, right? So maybe we've been treating this whole problem completely wrong. That would be a discussion that we would have if we were an emotionally mature society. But that's mean. That's a mean thing to suggest, because some people will have their feelings hurt temporarily in the moment. And what do we always say about leftists, right? They care about two things. They care about how they feel right now and winning. That's it. So if you're going to get in the way of how they feel right now, no good. Can't say it. If it's getting in the way of winning, can't say it. And right now they have a different strategy, because saying, hey, we were wrong about the whole trans thing, that would heal the nation. We could work towards healing. We could at least start on the road towards healing, right? If we were just admit, hey, we were fucking wrong about that. Boys don't need to get their dicks chopped off. They need to go outside and build a house and build a cabin in the woods. Or they need to go hunting or whatever. Or they need to hang out, have bro time, But that would heal the nation. But that's not going to be a winning strategy. The winning strategy: double down on the trans thing, accuse the right of being mean to trans people, and then now we're going to introduce gun control, and then use that as a wedge issue to, win the election. And, hey, if you are successful in actually taking away guns, then, hey, guess what? Now you've disarmed the citizenry and you can have even more power, and they're going to be even easier to control. So you win. So this is from the perspective, like if I were a lizard person, I would be like, yeah, this is a great strategy. Let's do that. Yeah. Go ahead.
Negative things to say about Trump, about some things that have been on the weapons. A lot of this is just very early reporting. What do you do as a leader of your city to prevent details from being weaponized and used?
Weaponized details. By the way, weaponizing details is another way of framing making inferences from facts. Pattern recognition. Weaponizing details is how she's demonizing just recognizing patterns and just noticing stuff. This is what I said when I tweeted about this yesterday. I said noticing is illegal. And this is what I meant. She's talking about noticing patterns, and she's calling it weaponizing details. Do you see how they're doing this shit? Do you see what they're doing? Do you see that? Like if you notice patterns and make inferences from them, then you're committing a thought crime. Anyway, go ahead.
Using this to blame something other than the guns.
First off, anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize trans people has completely lost touch with a common humanity.
I love how, okay, so it is being investigated as an anti-Catholic hate crime. And then I don't love that framing, but imagine if it was an anti any other group hate crime. You fill in your favorite group, gay, Jew, black, whatever your favorite group is. If it was an anti that group hate crime, the first thing they would do would not be to defend the perpetrator or to defend the group that the perpetrator belonged to. It's like, well, that's not. And I agree, most trans people are just innocent perverts, not murderers. But it does seem like there's a connection between this way of thinking about the world and being terminally online and being nihilistic and kind of being delusional about reality. It does seem like there's a connection there. Okay, go ahead.
Operate not off of hate for any community. Operate off of love for our kids. Kids died today.
He loves the kids. And if you love the kids too, you'll hand in your guns. That's what he's lubing you up for. And if you don't want to hand in your guns, oh, you must hate kids. You must not love kids. You hate kids. You're a bigot. You're an evil child-hating bigot who hates children. Go ahead.
This should be about protecting our children. This should be about loving our children. And far too often, I feel like people will think of the conclusion that they want to get to, and then they'll like reverse manufacture the facts that they want to hear.
That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing right now. He's doing that right now. He's doing that right now. He's doing the thing that he's telling you that you're doing. He's saying that I'm doing that, but he's doing that. That's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. He thought of the conclusion that he wanted, which is him as president and also gun control. And then he's reverse engineering the facts to fit that narrative. And the facts that are inconvenient to that narrative, he's trying to tell you to ignore that. This isn't about trans. This isn't about, delusion and nihilism. No. It's about loving children. And if you love kids, then you'll pass gun control and you'll make me president. That's what, but if you don't, that's fine if you hate kids, but it's very weird. Major party foul. That's fucking insane, dude. Oh my God. He's doing the thing he's saying that you're doing. He's doing the thing he's saying you're doing. You're just recognizing patterns. You're just noticing stuff. And by the way, you're allowed to notice. You're not crazy. You're not the crazy one. You're not the crazy. The rules of reality didn't change. We weren't all wrong about reality 10 years ago. That's not what happened. Nope. This is a mass psychosis. That's what's happening. And but it's because of like people are in the media and in the government are gaslighting you on purpose. That's what's happening. This is gaslighting right now. Go ahead.
Get to that end point. We should be standing up for our Catholic community, by the way, right now, because this is a Catholic church.
Did you just tell us to fuck off and not pray? Didn't you tell us that already? Now you want to stand up for the Catholic community? If you just told us to fuck off and not pray, that's crazy. That's crazy. I think he knows he stepped in shit based on the reception. Remember, that was him soft launching his presidential campaign. So this is him trying to, you see how he's making got the sympathetic eyebrow there. You see that? So he doesn't feel any real emotions, but he wants you to think that he's feeling emotions. And when in the past, when he was trying to manipulate people earlier in his life, when he was a kid or later as an adult, when he wanted to manipulate people, he knew that it was effective to fake emotions. And so he would rumple his eyebrows like this so that you would know he was serious. and sad, serious but not angry, not angry serious, sad serious, yeah, sad. It's like, oh, I'm so sad. I'm sensitive. I'm a sensitive male feminist leader. Then he's fake. This is all fake. That's not real. He doesn't give a shit about Catholics. He doesn't give a shit about the people of Minneapolis. He cares about his presidential aspirations. That's what this is about. Go ahead.
Up for kids and churches and schools and all that. Let's love each other. The antidote to hate is not more hate. The antidote to hate and cowardice, which clearly this shooter had, is not more hate. Hurt people hurt people. The antidote is love.
So a big problem with what is going on in America right now is that our leadership has a very childish way of looking at the world. Their whole framing for how reality works is childish. Hurt people, and love is love, and we fight hate with love, and all that sounds very good. And so if you're let's say you're a white woman looking for which Democrat to vote for, and you're a millennial white woman, you're going to hear that and be like, yes, oh, why can't he be president instead of that dirty old Trump? Oh, it feels good. He's going to fight hate with love. Oh, it feels good. Again, he's just appealing to the slack-jawed zoo animals who are going to vote for him. Like this, that's just something that sounds good, but has no relationship to reality at all. So it's that's actually sometimes the way you fight hate is with a guided missile. Sometimes the way you fight hate is you bomb it. Sometimes the way you fight hate is boots on the ground. Sometimes the way you fight hate is with an increased police presence. Sometimes actually the answer is violence. And knowing that a certain amount of violence is necessary to maintain social order is called being an adult who understands human nature. And that's the Democrats. Democrat leadership is completely disconnected from, at least in terms of the messaging they put out. I think in the privacy of their minds, I think they're cold and calculating, and they're really only focused on amassing power for themselves. I don't think there's any authentic I don't think there's anything authentic coming out of this. Yeah, but this is a deeply cynical bid for emotional manipulation. So, because he wants to amass power for himself. He knows this is his Giuliani moment. You know, for those of you who don't remember, Rudy Giuliani was the mayor of New York right after 9/11, and he got super popular after that. And they made a video of him, or a movie of him starring James Woods, which was kind of cool, weirdly horny in parts, but whatever. Anyway, and so basically off of that, he was able to launch a presidential campaign, which ended up not being super successful. But yeah, it's I think he's trying to. I mean, look what happened to Mayor Pete. He was the mayor of something, and now he's the director of whatever the fuck. I don't know.
The antidote is standing up for our neighbor, no matter who they are.
Wrong. Some of your neighbors are psychopaths. You should not stand up for your psychopath neighbors. Like this guy. I wouldn't stand up for this guy. Go ahead.
That's where we need to get to right now. And so, no, this whole effort to villainize a community, this is not about a community that did this. A community didn't do this. A person did this.
See, what's crazy is they understand collective responsibility doesn't fly when they're talking about trans people, but they struggle with that same concept when they're talking about white people. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So they understand that trans people are not collectively responsible for the wrongdoing of one trans person, but they don't understand that white people are not collectively responsible for slavery. Isn't that interesting? How they do. So this is what I'm saying. They do understand. They know that they're lying, but they don't care because they're unconcerned with whether or not what they're saying is true or good or moral. They don't care about that. Their only concern is gaining as much power for themselves as they possibly can. They do not care about what's good. They don't care about what's moral. They don't care about Catholics. They don't care about the children who died. They only care about gathering more power for themselves. And that is the whole point of that's the whole point of doing this. That's the whole point of doing this. So this is him speaking to, and he's on MSNBC. So who's he talking to? Who watches MSNBC? Boomer women, boomer white women, right? That's who he's speaking to right now. So he's introducing himself to his future voters as he has national aspirations. Right. So, and he knows that there's a power vacuum at the top of the Democrat Party right now. And right now, it seems like the best that the Democrats can do is Gavin Newsom, and he's very unpopular. So, yeah, I think he sees this as an opportunity for personal advancement. I don't think there's any doubt about that, at least not to me. Go ahead.
And that was a horrific act, and we should all be saying that out loud. And we should all be loving each other more.
We should all say that a bad thing is a bad thing, and we should all love each other more. Bad thing is bad thing. More love. Do you see how that's like childish and retarded? You see how that there's like absolutely nothing in that that's meaningful or actionable, and there's no reasonable attempt to grapple with the harshness of reality at all. You see how that's just retarded? Go ahead.
You may have just answered my question, but I know I've heard from a lot of friends and family and viewers today.
Ugh. Okay. Ugh, that's enough of that. Anyway, let's see. Now, as far as pattern recognition goes, here we go. Here's Elon Musk recognizing a pattern. There's a clear pattern here. This is Kristi Noem. Let's see. What'd she say? Beep. Elon retweeted this. We have confirmation that the shooter at Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis, Minnesota, was 23-year-old man claiming to be transgender. This is deranged monster targeted our most vulnerable young children praying in their first morning mass of the school year. This is deeply sick. Murder scrawled the words "for the children, where is your God?" and "kill Donald Trump" on a Rifle magazine. And additionally, a bunch of racial slurs, and additionally, the troll logo. And I don't know if you could see, this is framing too. They're trying to frame this too. This is also framing. Because I don't think it's clear from the manifesto that there was like actually like an ideological motivation for this, or that you could say that it was strictly speaking woke. I don't think that's the right way to think of it either. I think this is somebody that was like deeply, deeply, deeply disturbed. I actually, there's way more on this. Like, there's way more. I'm not going to be able to finish it all on my show. I'm going to have to, we're going to pick it up again this evening on Ironcast with my good buddy Iron Oxide. So if you're interested in this show, definitely tune into that show. That show is going to be a little more, this was just like me riffing and like shrieking at Democrats, but that one will be more like parsing the facts and like trying to get, thanks, Craig. Better take than MSK, which is least anyone could hope for. Thanks, buddy. Shout out to MSK, friend of the channel. The reason I have this show is because I appeared on his show. So gotta give credit where credit's due. This level of violence is unthinkable. Our deepest prayers are with the children, parents, families, educators, and Christians everywhere. We mourn with them. We pray for healing, and we will never forget them. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. She's also kind of trying to frame it. Now, this is less villainous in the way that they're trying to frame it. But yeah, it's not obvious to me that this was like motivated by, it's not obvious. There's nothing in the manifesto that indicates that this was like some kind of like act of revenge by the transes or anything, or that this was some kind of like, this is motivated by leftist ideology. Like, I don't see anything like that. It seems like, well, because if it was motivated by being a leftist, then there wouldn't be all those racial slurs. It seems like it was just motivated by nihilism and like, life is pointless. Nothing matters. I'm in pain. Therefore, I'm going to do something horrible. You see what I'm saying? Like that to me is a lot more likely to be the cause. So yeah. Let's yeah. That's my microphone levels are fine. All right, well, that's what it is. For some reason, my mic is coming through really quiet. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that's about, but yeah. So that's what's going on with that. There's one more that I wanted to show you guys. Okay, this is another one. This is the Jesse Waters take, which somebody sent this to me. I'm only going to do a couple more videos on this, and then move on to the other topics. See, I put other topics in the title, so I have to actually cover them. That's what's tricky about. I don't know if any of you, some of you probably live stream, but if you do, then you know it's like you don't always know what you're going to say. You don't always know what you're going to say beforehand or how long things are going to take. Like I was going to do an opening monologue about Taylor Swift, and I didn't know how long that was going to take. And then I got on this thing, and we're already at like 2 hours and 15 minutes. This is also where I record videos that I'm going to be clipping later. So we're seeing this. I mean, all fucking, 2 of you are watching. So let's do this. Let's see. I'm not really going to read all the thing. Okay. Very important. This is Betty Johnson. He's a conservative journalist, for those of you that don't know. Everybody stop what you're doing. Watch this. Jesse Waters delivered the most important and powerful monologue ever. Oh, I guess I better stop what I'm doing and watch this. He blew the lid off the trans violence epidemic. Okay, see, that is framing. Trans violence epidemic is framing. The media's cover up of how Democrat leaders created it. Okay. That's interesting. I don't know about epidemic. We're gonna have to see. So if they're actually trans violence epidemic seems to be an attempt at creating a meme. So trans violence epidemic is very punchy and repeatable. So I'm guessing that's an attempt at creating something that is going to become a talking point. I don't know if that's exactly right. I think we have a nihilism problem. I don't know. Trans violence epidemic seems to be, I don't know if that's the right framing. I'm not sold on that yet, to be honest with you. I think that's a convenient framing if you want to win elections for Republicans, though. So, because again, all this is power gaming. So the people that lead us are lizard people, and they don't care at all about your well-being. So that's important to remember, that the people who lead us have no honor or decency or morality. And they're scum-sucking lizard people who would kill you in a second to avoid scuffing their shoes. So that's important to remember about the people who are in charge of us. We've seen trans shoes. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, okay, maybe there is a point. You know what? Let's watch the video. I don't know why I'm fucking around. Let's watch the video. And
so Harry, suicidal transgender who hates Trump's Christians and Jews shoots up kids. Suicidal transgender who hates Trump's Christians and Jews shoots up kids at a Catholic school, and the media wants to take away your handgun. So how are we supposed to protect ourselves from trans shooters?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. That's a good point. How am I gonna, protect myself? By the way, look at the jaw on this gentleman. Good gravy, bro. It's a shame he switched teams, dude. Very not a good setup to be an attractive woman, but very workable. You can work with that jawline as a man. I know a lot of fellas who would like that jawline. Go ahead.
The media is bad at pattern recognition.
True.
We aren't. Just 2 years ago, another trans 20-something walked into a Christian school in Nashville with a rifle and shot 3 kids and 3 adults. They buried the manifesto and locked down the case.
Yeah, that's true too. Okay, this is the second school shooting and the second one at a Christian school. Now, let me ask you something, because I don't know this, but because we don't know if we'll find out by Ironcast tonight, I'm hoping, if this shooter attended the Catholic school, but also the Nashville shooter. I don't know if this person, I think that was a female to male. I don't know if she attended the Christian school when she was younger, or if that was just like, because here's the thing, that makes a big difference. Like, okay, the fact that this shooter, the fact that his mom worked at the school, to me, that shows a personal connection with the school, whether he attended it there or not, which changes how I feel about it being an anti-Christian hate crime. Because if it was just a generically anti-Christian hate crime, then it seems like they're attacking a target they have a personal relationship with. If they're attacking a target they have a personal relationship with, then that, to me, complicates the discussion about motives. So, I mean, framing it as, oh, this is anti-Christian, this, that, whatever. Like, that's really good if you want to galvanize people to vote for your guy, vote for your candidate. But that's not necessarily, you know what I mean? That's not necessarily accurate. I remember his goal, this guy's goal is not to give you good information. His goal in this is to support the regime, the Trump administration. Go ahead.
We've seen trans shootings in Colorado and in Maryland. They even shot up an ICE facility in Texas.
Yo, that's a trans? Hey, yo, wait, hold on. Hold on. Wait, no, I see it now. Okay, that one would have fooled me. Chat, would that one have fooled you? That one would have fooled me. I would have. Now that I'm kind of looking at it, I'm like, no. But like at first glance, I don't know. That one was more passable. Because I thought it was because they weren't passable, and that's why they were violent. That's okay. Iron's saying that's a dude. Okay, maybe I'm just lonely. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I need to get out more. Hey, yo, this is tough, man. I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. Some of the most beautiful women in the world here. I need to go outside and fucking look around. Jesus Christ. Although, I will say, a lot of trannies here, too. More so than Sister Logjaw. Yeah, I agreed. Agreed. Good Lord. That's tough, man. Imagine, like, being... Why would you... I just, like, bro, if you're trying to optimize your loadout, why would you... Anyway, I don't know. To me, I don't get it. I don't get it. I feel the same way about a lot of these girls. They're like a 6 out of 10 woman, and they're like, I'm going to become a man, and they trigger the fucking male pattern baldness gene, end up looking like fucking George Costanza. All the fat goes out of their tits and into their gut. And they're like 5'4" and like skinny fat. And they're like, this will make my life better. I have male privilege now. It's like, no, you're a weird little goblin. I don't know who told them like a 6 out of 10 woman has a worse life than a weird little goblin man. It's hard being a weird little goblin man. I'll tell you that. Anyway, go ahead.
And it seems like half of Antifa's...
Okay, come on. Come on. That one, I see it now. At first, though, do you think it's the makeup? Do you think that's what's going on? Do you think it's a makeup thing? It's like you put enough makeup on a man, they actually start to look like a woman. Is that real? Chad, what do you think? I don't know. That one's passable, I feel like. Not saying smashable. I'm saying like I would mistake if you put this and surrounded it by like 4 other women, I'd be like, that's 5 women. I probably would have missed this one. I don't know. We're not seeing the Adam's apple. I don't know how tall they are. You also tell by the size of the feet and hands. So, although I dated this volleyball chick for a while who was confirmed at all original parts, all factory parts. But she was like 6 feet tall and she had like size 10 feet and like big, same size hands. But she had like my size hands, but just 6 feet tall. No, Theo, just no. All right, bro. You're going to have to watch me then. It's like out here in Vegas, you really can't tell. There's, people just be switching teams now recklessly. This is crazy. Are you sure that's okay? All right, maybe that's more so than what's her face. We agree, or what's his face? The guy who shot people. I guess this one also shot people. It's actually more than I thought. I didn't know there were that many that were shooting people. I don't know if it's like
trans. A couple of thems just got popped for firebombing Teslas. The mayor of Minneapolis says you can't say that.
Anybody who is using this as an opportunity to villainize our trans community or any other community out there has lost their sense of common humanity.
But did he villainize prayer at the beginning when a bunch of Catholic children got shot? Didn't he do that? God forbid we hurt a trans person's feelings, though.
We should not be operating out of a place of hate for anyone. We should be operating from a place of love for our kids.
I don't hate anyone who thinks they're trans. I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
But statistically, the trans population has been prone to...
Now, see, that's not passing, though. We agree. That's not... I am not persuaded by that. Not. No. That's a dude. Respectfully. Go ahead.
Violence. That's not villainizing, that's reality. And if you can't recognize reality, you're in danger. We love the American people, especially American children. And if they're troubled and believe there's somehow a girl trapped in a boy's body, we want to get them help.
What's up, Bat Sauce, friend of the channel? Yeah, okay. So I don't know that it's that trans people are more prone to. See, this is tricky because we've decided trans is an identity group. And so if you say trans people are more prone to violence, that's like saying an ethnic group is more prone to violence or whatever. So it becomes tricky and politically complicated. But actually, if you think about it, it's like somebody who's like, what we're actually talking about is people who are delusional about reality and terminally online and pumped full of psych meds and hormones. So if you say someone who's a weird loner, terminally online, delusional beliefs about reality, narcissistic, pumped full of psych meds and hormones, if you say that person is more prone to violence, then I'm like, yeah, probably. That makes sense. That's actually just reasonable. But because we've got this, we've decided that like trans is like a fucking civil rights group, that makes it complicated to talk about, you know? So, and that's actually just the wrong framing. What's crazy is he's like accepting the left's framing on this. It's like, I understand that these people are like a self-described identity group. And I get that. But I don't buy it. You buying their framing that it's like a civil rights group that, or a disenfranchised minority group that needs protection. I don't really get that. I don't buy that. I think these are like people who are really, really deeply troubled and need help and compassion. I don't think it's like nice to, I don't necessarily want to like be mean to them or whatever, but like I think it's not helpful to talk about them. It's like, well, it's like they're, I understand respecting other people's religious beliefs to a point, and that's kind of how I see this. It's like you respect other people's religious beliefs to a point, but if they, contradict with reality, I'm not going to pretend I agree with you. That's not better for you, nor is that better for me. Like no one's really, that doesn't make anyone happier, and it makes society worse. We have a bunch of people just like pretending they believe things they don't to placate the feelings of the most emotionally and mentally disturbed citizens. That's just, you're just living in an asylum. You're going to turn the whole nation into an asylum where we're all just like, oh yes, you really are the Joker. Crazy. Go ahead.
We don't want to give them hormones and operate on them. Society shouldn't be trying to produce more trans kids.
Right.
We shouldn't be encouraging an emotional disorder or whatever this is. And doctors should stop profiting from it. Great Britain.
See, this guy is not passing. That would not fool me. I know I got fooled by a couple of the earlier trans terrorists. I'm not getting fooled. Not getting fooled by this.
Ended child sex change surgeries. They said it's barbaric, and they're right. And politicians should stop elevating the trans issue like it's the civil rights struggle of the 21st century. You see it all over Minneapolis.
Minneapolis will continue to be a safe haven for our trans community.
For being a...
Oh, fuck. That was on March 20th? That's crazy. That's crazy. Imagine you're that guy. Imagine you're that guy. And you announced that your city was a safe haven for the transes, and then one of them like shoots up a church, and you're like, well, we're still, that one was a fluke. What do you say to that? Fooled. Yeah, that's okay. I actually have not been fooled by a transformer in the field. I'm not Vaughn Coleman. Ask him about that. Shout out to Vaughn Coleman, friend of the channel. I Can Fix Her comic book coming soon with my good buddy Vaughn Coleman, who has more than once been fooled by a transformer. So go ahead and ask him about that. Go ahead and ask him on Twitter right now if he's been fooled by a transformer in the field. Anyway, go ahead.
safe haven for transgender individuals.
We have sued them for gender-affirming care. Yes, we are not going to scapegoat our transgender community.
When our children tell us who they are, it is our job as grown-ups to listen and to believe them.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So when you're
oh, yes, it's so good. And I told my parents that I was the Green Power Ranger, and they chose not to believe me. But they were just like, okay, whatever, and we just kept it pushing, right? So, but do you see how all of those people were just like speaking in big, performative, emotional, expressive terms, like it actually meant something, and then they're doing it to yes, and people are applauding. It's all they're farming votes from morons. They're farming votes from people with the emotional development of a child, which is sadly that's your core demographic. If you're the Democrat Party, is people with the emotional regulation of children. So you just have to say things that sound nice and feel good.
Your 9-year-old tells you he's a horse.
Hold on. Cinema Quirks. My niece told me she wants to be a doctor, but I said, come on, you're a girl. Based.
Do you let him sleep out in the barn and eat hay? What are we doing here?
No.
Just a few years ago, the psychiatric community classified trans.
It's like we all forgot children are retarded. It's like you've met a child, right? They're retarded. Don't listen to them. They're retarded. Go ahead.
Transgenderism as a mental illness. Then doctors went woke and removed it as a condition, and now millions of young Americans are identifying themselves as trans and getting high fives. When someone has an illness, we should treat it instead of affirm it. We don't celebrate schizophrenia. We don't encourage depression.
No, I think the best analog for trans is like anorexia, I think, or like eating disorders. Because you'll have people can have completely delusional beliefs about their physical reality. That's fine, and that's downstream of like other issues too, or deeply uncomfortable with themselves and the person they are. That's actually super common for young people, especially young people who are going through puberty, which is what makes this so sinister. When a young person who's like going through puberty is like, I'm uncomfortable in my body, it's like, welcome to the fucking club. This is temporary. It'll pass. Go on. And to be like, well, you can just hit the pause button on puberty. That's all right. It's like, no, you can't. No, you fucking can't. No. There's going to be consequences to that. That's absolutely crazy. And it's a lie to say that there aren't, right? So that's the thing. I guess my big problem with this is just all, it's all supported by lies that contradict reality. And in order to go along with it, I have to be going along with lies that contradict reality. And the lies kind of stack on top of each other and they have consequences. So I'm uncomfortable with that. I'm not going to do that actually. So, and it's like, and I'm not going to do that just because it like makes people feel good or just because people might be upset with me if I don't. Like, I'm not going to do that. So like, I'm not trying to be a hater, like go nuts. Like I'm like, I don't have strong negative feelings towards trans people in general. Like I think trans people are cool, like I guess, or they could be. But I think they'd be a lot happier if they stopped taking all those hormones and psych meds and got some exercise and maybe ate a steak. Try having a steak. That's what I would say. Try having a steak. See if that moves the needle for you. Anyway, go ahead.
Teenagers are confused. Sometimes these things are just a phase.
Hey, that's what I said.
And if they're not, all right, then a grown man can wear a dress. If he wants to do that in America, he has that right.
Yes. Yes. But like Ali said earlier, rent a hotel room, do it by yourself, and shame. Makes the jerk better. Go ahead.
We're a pretty darn tolerant society. But the left's weaponizing trans kids and turning them into culture warriors. And they've been turned loose against the church, schools, and Trump. You see it, I see it. The trans clan has a militant wing, and it's out for blood. They're taking lives, defiling churches, and freaking everybody out. And some politicians are doing more to protect shooters like Westman than soft targets like schools. In 2023, private schools in Minnesota begged Governor Walz to fund more school safety. They told him it was an urgent and critical need. Minnesota had an $18 billion budget surplus, but the governor didn't do it. Instead, he turned Minnesota into a trans sanctuary, and his attorney general, Keith Ellison, sued Trump so they can keep castrating little boys.
Oh, fuck.
Tim Walz failed. Our leaders keep failing us.
Okay, but this is the thing. See, this is what I'm saying is like he's right to a point, but he's trying to like frame it like Republicans are the answer and that this is a Democrat failure. But I mean, but you know, Republicans pay lip service to this bullshit too. Just by saying that they're just conceding that there is a trans community, there are such a thing as trans people, just like just by conceding all of that, you know, you're adopting the framing and you're like, hey, I know certain people are going to be outraged by this. And guess what? They vote too. So come vote for me. Come vote for Republicans. Republicans are the answer. You know, and at the same time, although to be fair, Trump has done a lot to kind of clamp down on the trans stuff. You know, there's a lot less of that going around than maybe there used to be, but I don't know. I'm not convinced that Republicans are not lizard people. I'm just very convinced that Democrats are lizard people at this current moment in history. Go ahead.
They failed us during COVID, on trade, on immigration. They say they care about kids, but they locked them down and oversaw an obesity and chronic disease epidemic. And now there's a growing trans epidemic, and they won't even admit it. Just like crime. They created a crisis and then lie about it and blame you for not being compassionate. But their fake compassion is getting people killed.
Hey, yo. Yeah, that really puts a point on it. Yeah, I agree. I kind of agree with, in general, I agree, but like also the way he just kind of like throws everything in the kitchen sink in there, that's about COVID and all this other stuff. To me, it seems pretty obvious that he's shilling for Republicans while he does this. Now he's right to criticize Democrats, but like, I mean, just because I'm criticizing Democrats doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to shill for Republicans. So let's see what else we got. Yeah, I want to do one more. Now I'm just recording video. I'm glad you guys are still hanging out, by the way. This is just me recording videos that are going to be clips later. So, because there's like 3 of you watching it. Thank you, 3 people, probably all who know me personally, for hanging out and watching this stream. Hopefully we get some views on the replay. All right, let's do this. This is kind of cool. This is what I personally think is going on. And I think this guy nailed it. Go ahead. Let's hit play. And this is not the popular opinion, but this is a picture from the guy's journal. Do you see how he's kind of like looking in the mirror here? It's him with the ponytail and the gun on his back, and he's looking in a mirror, and it's this demonic figure. Okay, and he's got like writing in Russian here. Okay, go ahead.
This is not a political issue. This isn't a issue with firearms. It's not even really at its core an issue with the trans ideology. Those are the things people are pointing at and scapegoating. This is just straight up demonic possession.
There it is. Okay, that's just not polite to say in public now. Yeah, that's not polite to say in public now, and that's like but I mean, fucking bro, look at this shit. It's like that video. Remember the video at the beginning where he's like stabbing it, he's like whispering to himself like a fucking weirdo, or he says he feels compelled to do this, and the thoughts in the back of his mind, he can't get it out, and you know he doesn't want to, but he feels compelled to. See what I'm saying? This is what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. That's what this you could call me Catholic if you want. And the fact that these people are like murdering particularly Christian children, you know, particularly, I mean, and the fact that it's an attack on literally an attack on children at a Catholic mass. I can't think of anything more sacrilegious than that, you know? And this shit, I mean, come on. You're gonna come on. Spurring and the stab. I mean, here's the thing. There's no way to demonstrate this scientifically. But I will say every single society that existed before ours believed that this kind of shit really happened to people. And they had safeguards against it. Right? Well, we're like the modern world, so we think we're too smart no, evil spirits, that's superstition. Demons are not real. But I mean, if you fucking look at it, like what certainly seems like this guy was being harassed by some hostile voices that were giving him some really bad ideas. And this shit right here is, go ahead.
People think that that's not real. They look to all sorts of other explanations. This right here, which if you don't know, you'll see this image, you'll understand when you get the context. This is just straight up demonic possession. There is no political answer for this. There's only a spiritual one. Our nation is literally plagued by demons, and the only answer is a return to Christ.
Yep. So that's what I think. That's all four of you know that. The problem is I have a fucking secular audience, so most of them don't give a shit about that kind of thing. But come on, even if you're a secular person, you have to find that the videos of that dude whispering himself and fucking stab in the picture, and also his choice of tar. All of that has to be deeply unsettling to you. And the way you even kind of saw this with Ellen Page describing the transition process was saying it's she had a voice in her head being okay, do this, blah 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 blah. And that's how a lot of people kind of describe it. And to me as a Catholic, I hear that and that makes me think of this. Right. So I want to throw that out there. I don't have any, again, there's no scientific evidence. There's no scientific evidence that I can show you that's aha, demon, I found one. It was under this microscope the whole time. I can't show you that, but this is just something every society that existed before us believed that this shit was real and had deliberate safeguards in place to prevent it from happening to people. And they had procedures they would do if it did. And I know that we're too smart for that now, and everything is a psychiatric problem or whatever, but I don't know, man. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So I'm just going to throw that out there because I do think that, and I don't think I could do that on anybody else's show. I don't even think I could do this on my panel show, and I don't think people would buy into that. But when you see something like that video at the beginning, which I've already X'd out of, but where he's just slowly whispering that he's going to unalive himself, and he's stabbing the page and shit. It's man, that was super creepy. It's you know why? Because it looks like it's a fucking demon. That's why. It just sounds like somebody who was in solitude and being absolutely tortured by and here's the thing. Let's say a demon was going to tell somebody to do something. Going and murdering children during a Catholic mass that's something a demon would come up with for sure. I'm just saying it's not, I can't prove it, so I can't, if you're skeptical, I can't really say anything, so, yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. Let's go ahead and while we're talking about all this gay shit, I actually have a couple more videos I wanted to show you guys. Let's actually go to It's crazy, man. It's crazy, man. All this, the way that the media has been talking about this has been really irresponsible. I mean, it's not just that they've been making it a political issue, but also they've I think they're intentionally shaming people that are think about this being a normal person who isn't necessarily up on all the sensitive woke lingo, just a normal person who's looking at this and they're hey, respectfully, why are there so many transes that are fucking killing people? That's a good question, right? You're allowed to ask that. That's allowed. And even if you don't ask it in the most sensitive tone of voice, you're allowed to have questions, right? Speaking of people, by the way, this is another one. I'm going to do these out of order, but this is speaking of somebody who started asking questions. Snoop Dogg. Do you guys see this? Snoop Dogg had a question. Yeah, look at this. This was
I took my
whole thing that happened because Snoop Dogg is a mostly apolitical figure. I mean, he said fuck Donald Trump at various points, whatever, but he's kind of generically, I know he didn't like Trump, but He's not somebody who's like super involved in politics, particularly, just kind of like a very well liked public figure at this point in his career. And that's shifted from him being like kind of like a badass gangster rapper. And so he actually had a comment on the LGBTQification. First of all, let me get to the chat real quick. A person whose target is explicitly Christ has got some demons. I kind of agree with you, dude. And literally the fact that he's putting the Jesus head on the target. Now, I will say some of this is clearly like mommy issues. Like he's got something, mom works at the school, so something about this target is personal. But it does seem like a pattern with these trans school shooters that they're particularly targeting Christian targets. It does seem like, and that would make sense. That would make sense if this was an issue of a spiritual illness or some kind of like demonic issue, which is what I think is going on, but I can't prove it and I can't fix it. So anyway, let's see what Snoop Dogg has to say, because this is going to be a lot of fun.
I took my grandson to see, what was the movie with Buzz Light?
Toy Story?
Not that one, but
the new Buzz. The Lightyear. I think it's called Lightyear.
Kiki.
See, okay, this is just a little pet peeve. Women cannot just let a man think because they're so filled with anxiety. They have to just like fucking interrupt you and fill in the gaps. It's like this man has been high every single day for the past 40 years. Sometimes it takes a second for him to finish a sentence. Just let the man pause. Just let the man pause without interrupting him and trying to help. Anyway, I don't have time. I don't want to make this a whole diatribe about women because I have. If you want more diatribes about women, check out my back catalog of previous episodes of Theocracy. You'll find plenty of them. All right, that was the previous. Every episode I did before this had a diatribe about women. We're not going to have a diatribe about women today. Go ahead.
Palmer's in that movie.
Okay.
She plays like the daughter. So we watching it, and the lady, which is Kiki's mama, they move on into the space years. They move down the line. They're like, then she had a baby with a woman. Well, my grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. Oh, shit. I didn't come in for this shit. I just came to watch the goddamn movie. Hey, man, watch the movie.
That's reasonable. That's reasonable. That same thing happened. I watched that a few years ago. I was watching it with my buddy and his daughter. She was like 8 or 10 or whatever at the time. And she had the same question. We were watching it. She was like, she had the same question. Like, how did this happen? It's like, turkey baster. That's how.
Wait,
Which I guess, by the way, I guess they just had a turkey. Sorry you guys see that movie, but they're like stranded on a different planet at that point. So they just brought the turkey baster with them, I guess. Or they did it the old-fashioned way, and they just had one of the dudes volunteer. You don't know. But why would you have a turkey baster on board? Because like a space mission, you got to be careful what you bring with you because you only got, you're not just going to bring everything. Why would you bring a turkey baster with the man juice in it? Whose man juice was it? That's my question. Anyway, I had questions watching it, so it wasn't just me.
They just said she had a baby. They both women's. How did she have a baby?
Good question. Base child. W's in the chat for the base child.
Shh. The movie ain't over with. So it's like, fuck me. I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle of shit that I don't have an answer for. I took my...
Yeah, and then, so he obviously got a ton of shit for that. And people said he was... bigoted for doing that. I think he's being totally fucking normal, actually. That's a pretty normal opinion. I think most people who have children now are dealing with something like that. And it does seem like every single Disney movie has to have some kind of like gay or gay adjacent storyline. I do think the culture has shifted away from that. And I think, by the way, I will say this, the whole trans shooter thing is not doing the LGBTQ community any favors as far as their PR, as far as the public relations go. It's probably they're not doing anything to make themselves more popular. And like I think it's good that they I think it's good that like Snoop Dogg said something. Who's like not known to be like a super conservative guy. And he's not like, hey, fuck gay people. He's like, I just don't want to have this kind of conversation during a kid's movie. And by the way, that's super reasonable. And he's still getting shit online for that, which is wild. This is wild because that's like the most like reasonable like milquetoast take you could possibly imagine. And people are like mad at him because he's ostensibly a bigot. So that's crazy. I don't know. Let's see. Did anybody actually say anything? Let me see. Yep. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Here's a tweet. I got some tweets, guys. So we're searching Twitter now. Snoop Dogg built his career rapping about gangs, crime, drugs, and violence, proudly embracing the gangsta rapper persona. But now he's afraid by an animated film just because it shows a same-sex couple together less than 10 seconds. I don't think so. I think what he said was he just doesn't want to have to answer those questions when he goes to a kid's movie. Exactly what I've been saying about Snoop Dogg. He's the white man's black. We don't take that felon seriously. He does not represent us black people. He's owned by white people. He's just a tool and will remain one. Thank you, Billy Porter, who is gay. All right, not a bad thing. This is Black Anglican Socialist. That is quite an identity group. And Canadian. So fucking, why are you even here? That has to be a bot. That cannot be a real person. I don't believe that's a real person at all. This has to be a bot. It has to be. Yeah, look, following 7,000 followers, 3,000. So it's possible that this is just a completely manufactured controversy. Okay. And then yeah, so now Snoop Dogg is at the center of the culture war, and you got a bunch of conservatives who are like caping for Snoop Dogg. It's just such a weird yeah, that's weird. That's just a weird time to be alive. Yeah. That's weird. All right, did you guys see this I got to show you. Okay. Did you see this? Okay. So, girl 14 charged after bladed weapon incident in Dundee. So basically, it seems like what happened is this girl who's like 14 or sister, whatever, was like 12. We're getting like harassed by a migrant. So she pulled out some bladed weapons to try to defend herself. And it's illegal to do that in Scotland. So, which is where this happened, where they have a huge migration problem. And or there's a lot of problems that are being created by the amount of immigrants they've taken in, and a lot of the locals are kind of upset about it, particularly the locals in the lower class who are competing with them for jobs and living space. So it's kind of like this upper class metropolitan leader being like, immigrants are good, everyone should be happy and live in peace, and they're like, hey, yo, you don't got to live next to them. So it's kind of like, anyway, so this has become kind of a flashpoint. Let's take a look at the video.
Yes, you have a knife.
Yeah, so she's just kind of...
Why you fucking me up? Show the knife. Show the knife.
I can't understand either of these people's accents, if I'm being totally honest. But...
Show the knife. Show the knife. Show the knife. Don't touch him.
It's super weird for a grown man to be like filming young girls like this, but go on.
That's it. That's it. Show the knife. Show the knife. That's it.
Don't fucking touch my little sister. She has fucking 12. Where's not fucking touching me? She has fucking 12 and you just bothered me.
Right. So obviously, so that's kind of, anyway, that's basically it. And then this has been kind of an issue where people are talking about it. So now you got this. This has become kind of like a rallying cry for I guess white identity politics. And she got arrested. That was the other thing too, is she got arrested, not the migrant who was being a sex pest. It was the girl who was trying to defend herself that got arrested. And so now this is kind of, yeah, some people are kind of using this as a rallying cry to talk about like, hey, we got a migration problem in England. Are we going to address it or not? So this is kind of what's going. She can stand, so can you. And it's like, yeah, and so very based, but also like a lot of the people are excited about this or like, kind of dubious. So that's the thing, because it's also like every white nationalist on Twitter is like super jazzed up about this too. That's the only thing that's given me pause is like, okay, let me give you a little bit like what. So a bunch of people were tweeting the English flag, right? Including this guy right here, Elon Musk. Maybe you've heard of him. He tweeted the English flag. This is a St. Andrew's cross. So it's not the UK flag, but this is the cross part of the UK flag is this. This is St. Andrew's cross. And that's the flag for just England, not the UK. So then, Tommy Robinson, kind of well-known troublemaker in the United Kingdom. Let's see, how does he describe himself? Yeah, so a guy who 1.4 million followers. But yeah, he's kind of known for his like advocacy for native English people against migration. And for a long time, they put him in jail for that. For a long time, they were trying to tell everybody that he was like a racist or like a bad guy for doing that. But like now it's, I think what he was trying to say was like, you don't understand the scope of the problem because you don't live next to him. Right. I think people were kind of thinking it was like America, where you go to a lot of like American major metros and there's just like different kinds of people and we just kind of get along and figure it out. But it was not like that there. Like the people who were coming there had significantly different views about how the culture should go and what was appropriate. And it was causing real problems, particularly for the women. So because these were like, they guys were being sex pests, and that's not a good thing. It's not like America. Like in America, like especially if you lived in the Southwest, like I've lived in California, I live in Nevada now. I've lived around Mexicans for most of my life. And I don't mind them. Like I'm just used to them. I don't know if they were there legally, illegally, whatever. I'm just used to it. Kind of the same deal with black people. They're just like part of America. Like part of living in America is you hang out with Mexicans and black people. It just is what it is. And it's just kind of okay. You just kind of like, you just deal with it. It just is what it is. And mostly it's okay. And it's kind of pleasant, actually, if you get to know them on an individual basis. Like it's just, but England's not like that. England's not a melting pot like us. And also it's not nearly as big and there's not nearly as much space. And they brought in a lot of migrants in a hurry who had very different ideas about what was socially appropriate. And that's creating a lot of friction with the local population. And so they're trying to complain about that. And the gripe is, hey, you guys are racist, just deal with it. And the people who are saying you guys are racist, just deal with it, are the people who do not have to deal with it. Right. And now this issue has gotten enough attention. There was this whole issue of like migrant rape gangs that the police was actually covering up. People were saying, hey, there's like gangs of folks running around raping white women. That's not good. We probably shouldn't have that. And they were like, yeah, but that's racist, so we're not going to investigate it. The police actively covered it up. So this is a real thing that's happening. But unfortunately, you've also got people who are kind of unsavory that would like to use that as an opportunity to get people riled up and seize power for themselves. So not good. And now Elon Musk's paying attention to it. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to see how this story plays out. I don't really know. We're going to see how this story plays out. I'm kind of excited to see how it goes. But this is also down. It's like a part of the discourse about this is, why aren't the men standing up? And it's like, because you told them not to. You told them they would go to jail for being racist if they did. Like they did. Like this guy, Tommy Robinson, he did exactly what you're saying. And you told him to stop because it was racist. And so now you got, 14-year-old girls like fucking dual wielding bladed weapons in the street, which, by the way, pro tip, Dual wielding is not that effective. You're better off wielding one weapon effectively rather than holding two. It's weird. So I've had knives pulled on me by women a few times, and they usually tend to favor the dual wielding. I've noticed that. I think they'd be more effective if they just did the one. But yeah, in my experience, when they've been pointing them at me, it was two. So, yeah. Let's see where the chat is at. But why is every controversy always the left going after the right? I don't know, dude. I think they're just trying to hold on power. Well, they win by being victims. So if they can convince people that they're victims, that we're the poor oppressed victims, and these people are being mean to us. It's so bad. And then that's how they get power. So they can't be in an actual active attacking position because then it looks like they're in power, and they get power from appearing to be victims. Let's see. Well, they do have an immigration problem. The number one name given to newborns in England is Mohammed. Yeah, which is crazy. That's crazy. And that's a lot of people. Here's the thing. It's like, I understand in the West, we have this idea that people are like the same everywhere and that liberal values are universal. And that's not true. Liberal values that everyone's equal and we can all just get along. That is an Anglo-American idea. That's an idea that's unique to us. And if you go other places, you'll find out other people don't think that. A lot of other people think that they're better than you, and if they can conquer you, they should be allowed to. And they want. So we're trying to get along with everybody, and the people we're competing with are trying to win. So if you're trying to just get along, and the other people are trying to win, then they're going to waffle stomp you. Like that's just how things go. So it is a conflict of opposing worldviews. Like we're trying to be nice. We're trying to nice away a problem that is not going to go. You can't just like be nice to everybody and just like hug it out and it works. Like some people like really want to destroy your civilization. They want to conquer and take over and replace it with them. Like that's a real thing. Like some people think that way. And I think that's hard for people, especially like liberal minded people have a hard time mentally mapping that because they're like, well, I would never do that. And it's like, yeah, but they're different than you. They're different than you. They think about the world in a completely different way. And because we have this stupid like blank slate idea, you think you can take anybody from anywhere in the world with any set of cultural predispositions and you can just like train them to live harmoniously in a liberal society. And there's just no evidence that that's true. Hey, what's up, man? England, they are staying up at their arresting people. Yeah, they're arresting people. Which is crazy. The rest of 2 90-year-olds. Yeah, I got to track down that video. The England thing, I'm going to have to spend more time on later because I've been going for 3 hours, so I'm going to have to tap out pretty soon. But why are we pulling knives on you, dude? What the fuck? Mind your business. Mind your business. Mind your business. Look, I like cantankerous women, and I'm not apologizing for that. And sometimes there are consequences. So, anyway. All right, guys. Hey, guys, honestly, I've been going for 3 hours, so I think I'm probably going to wrap it. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for coming and hanging out with me. It's been good. Hey, make sure to catch Ironcast tonight. So Ironcast is going to be tonight. And that's going to be on my good buddy Iron Oxide's channel. We're going to get into more of the facts of the case. Obviously, throughout the rest of today, more facts are going to come out. And so make sure to check that out. That'll be live. And he has a lot bigger following than I do. So his channel's monetized. Make sure to super chat, support. We're trying to get a live studio built out here so that we can really increase the quality of the shows that we're producing. So if that's something you support, go ahead and super chat. I should have put my Stream Elements tip jar I have a tip jar. Should have done that. That's okay. I'll get it next time. That's all right. Make sure to super chat, stuff like that. So like I said, we're trying to build a live studio out here. So the sooner we can get that off the ground, the more we can increase the quality of the stuff we're producing out here. It's going to be a lot of fun. My name is Theo Snodgrass. I do a show called Theocracy. It's the one you're watching now. 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're doing a Tuesday-Thursday schedule for right now. I think that's going to be better going forward. I also do a show called Touch Grass with Theo Snodgrass. That's a panel show on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. Pacific Time. So make sure to tune in for that. My good buddy Iron Oxide We're doing an like I said, Ironcast tonight, and then Rogues Gallery tomorrow, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. And that's that one is actually I'm going to be guest hosting that episode, so that's going to be a lot of fun. My goodbye Iron Oxide is taking a well-deserved break from all the stuff that's been going on. And then if you want to come see me do live comedy, it's going to be really good for the next couple of months. I'm going to be hanging out in Las Vegas, doing a bunch of different venues down there. If you want to keep track of that, go ahead, follow me on X, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. You can keep track of that. Follow me on YouTube. That's the most important one. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. I know a lot of you that watch the show, some of you are not subscribed, which I appreciate, but I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. Make sure to like it, share it, tell your friends about the show. My DMs are open. Send me a DM. I'm lonely. Yeah. Well, no. And then, I'm going to be traveling again, pretty soon. And I'll let you guys know when I'm going to be in a city near you doing some live comedy, and you can check me out there. All right. My name is Theo Snodgrass. Thank you very much. This is Theocracy. Take it easy, folks. Goodbye.